Hey folks, happy Friday. Happy Friday indeed. We've already got people. Where are you? I'm here.
People were worried.
They were very concerned.
They're like, has Rob fallen down a hole? He's never been late before.
Never been late ever in my entire existence. Am I ever late? What is it? The phrase, a wizard is never late. They arrive exactly when they intend to.
But you don't generally play a wizard.
No.
You were playing a rogue, so rogues are always late.
Mischievous and always late. And folks, I've got a special guest for us. Because we're going to be talking about a case. Well, welcome. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a wonderful week. I hope you got rest. I hope you did your Christmas shopping. If you celebrate the Christmas holiday, I hope you are doing well with family and ready to take a little bit of a break from reality with just holiday season. It's the holiday season. I spent today just trying to play catch up on cases and get things in a good posture because I'm out of town next week. I'm actually in Arizona with the Mischiefs and my mom. We're visiting her, so gonna be there all week. Yeah. I can't wait. Yes, my fiance, Mischief Manager, and Mini Mischief 1, Mini Mischief 2. So, anyways, let's see. Scott, you there?
Hey, live Rob, from a wind tunnel.
I know, live from a wind tunnel on a drive back from the lovely state of Florida to his residence, which I will not disclose on the internet.
North Carolina. Yeah.
Well, we now know the state where you reside, sir.
Yeah.
Dang it.
And I'll post the ad. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to post the address, and I don't know.
I will file a public pleading with Scott's full name and address, and then I will scramble and redact it.
Yes, thank you for that. No, it's a long drive from Florida to North Carolina. I've only got 5 hours left, and I'll be home.
Oh, good. That's about the average duration of Friday Night Frenzy.
Excellent. You can keep me company. No, I am driving, so it's hands free. I can't see. Do you have a guest with you?
Hello.
Ian's on with me.
Oh, is it Ian?
That's me.
Okay. Ian,
how you doing?
Great. I watched you and Dr. Joe today, and it was awesome.
Yeah, Dr. Joe is such a great guy. I'm so glad to see he's started a channel and he's doing great stuff. So, and it was an absolute pleasure to be on with him. It's been a chaotic day today.
Well, I mean, as an exemplar of how good of a guy Dr. Joe is, Scott, where were you staying last night?
In Dr. Joe's guest room.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was. He has a property there in Sarasota, just a little condo, and he heard I was coming down, and he said, "Let me put you up for the night." And it was wonderful. He's incredibly it's a generous offer, a gracious host. He's even nicer in person than he is on the screen. Just an amazing gentleman. So it was really neat.
Yeah. And the two of you, I'm trying to pull the image up because you went to his wife's restaurant, and I hate you for it.
His wife's got a restaurant? Oh my God!
It was.
You didn't know this?
No, I didn't know this.
I have in the car next to me a take-home box with 2 cinnamon rolls in it, and they texted my wife to let her know that I'm bringing them home just to make sure I don't eat them on the way home.
Well, and I got
stitches get stitches.
Yeah, really.
I got a lovely image that was sent to me, and I'm going to go ahead and share it because the person who sent it to me has social media presence, and I know that you can't see it, Scott, but let me see here.
We'll describe it.
Window? So that is Scott, Dr. Joe, and Jules at the restaurant.
Nice.
Out and having some food before Scott hit the road. And then the other one that I got was this one. And the cause of my envy is this next photo, which is this. That's what's sitting next to you in the passenger seat, isn't it? It's a photo of the
Man, that's not a cinnamon roll. That is like some sort of
It's a loaf.
yeah.
It is.
And
I tell you what, we had what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us around the table. We ordered 2 cinnamon rolls,
and you
and I
finished
still
one
have
of them.
no, I have 2 leftovers. I mean, we all ate. It's like we carved pieces off. It's like the Christmas turkey. There's one person doesn't eat the whole turkey, and so my take home was the leftover rolls. It still looks like we've got 2 full rolls here. They're huge and just delicious.
God, I am so mad.
Rob,
at
I gotta
you.
go. I'm making a road trip to Florida.
Yeah. So mad at you. Well, it's a good thing you ate because you didn't get any sleep. Because I heard you were up pretty early this morning.
Yeah, sleep's for the weak.
Well, no, sleep is for the tired.
You're speaking to veterans, to 2 veterans of the no sleep department.
Yeah.
No, I am planning on sleeping in the morning, but I'll try to catch up on the last couple of days. It's about
I've got a
13
tip
hours.
for sleeping. You just find the nearest courthouse and lay down on the concrete in front of it.
Yeah. You've got some of
What are
the
they
best
going to
sleep
do?
ever.
Arrest me?
Well, yes. If and when they do, you know who to call.
Yeah, I've got some friends. I'll try to beg
So-
a favor.
Scott, you were in court today, not
Yes.
for your own case. Why were you in Florida?
I went down for the Maya hearing. It's a little bit complicated, and I think you'll understand. But when there's only one cameraman in the courtroom, their ability to strike people for copyright use is very high. They're not sharing with anyone, and the situation in the Maya trial for this hearing had that situation when I went down, and so I had to be there to gain access the way we wanted to watch it. So I drove down with my own equipment to broadcast it back to YouTube. Had a couple hiccups at the beginning because of a situation there, but we got it sorted out, and I got to go sit in actually in the courtroom with Judge Carroll. I got to meet the Kowalski family, see Jack, Kyle, Maya, met Greg Anderson, Nick Whitney. Obviously, I stayed with Dr. Joe. Got to see Jules at the lunch afterwards. She wasn't there. Saw the cake lady. A couple others. I'm not sure if they want to be outed, but a couple other addicts and law and lumber fans that were there as well, and just got to spend some time and see some neat people and participate in a trial, which I know for you, the courtroom is, the novelty may have worn off, but for me, it was unbelievable to sit there and be there in something I've watched for 9 weeks, and then hear the bailiff say, call the room to order, me stand up, and in walks Judge Carroll, and it was sort of a surreal moment for me, just to sort of take it all in. And I sat in the back corner on the defense side so I could see everything, and I got to see every reaction from Jack when Mr. Altenbrand couldn't pronounce his wife's name, and I got to sort of just observe, and the feeling was incredible. It doesn't carry across the screen very well, but it was an amazing experience.
I also noticed that you did no filming of like, hey, let's creep shot Maya, because
Well,
I was like, oh, good, we're not just going to stalk her reactions. That's a change of pace. We're actually focusing on the people who are speaking.
Yeah, I have to admit, I was not running the camera. The judge only allowed one camera to be active, and it was a contractor that Law and Crime hired to be there. She's amazing. She's a nice lady. I talked to her beforehand. We talked a little bit about that, and she said, I'll just get a variety of shots, because some news and people had jumped on at the last minute and shown up and said, hey, get us some footage. And so we got a little bit of variety at the beginning, but she was good that way. I had my own complaints about the camera work, but when someone else is doing it for you, beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
Was it you that was making sure that it really captured the bald spot at the back of the one guy's head, the comb over spot?
Mr. Shapiro,
yes,
that was the view I had, and I said I expected him to be taller in real life. I'm not sure what I had in mind, but.
Well, this was a cause. This is a joke between Nick Whitney and I, and it was WWESD. So I made a friendship bracelet with the mini mischiefs. And for those of you guys who have been trying to guess, the friendship bracelets that were auctioned on Ian's stream, yes, those were all made by Mischief Manager. So she taught me how to make a friendship bracelet, and it says WWESD. And it was something that I had a joke with Nick Whitney about. And it was when you're sitting in court and you're not sure about what you want to do, you look down at your wrist and you say this phrase, "What would Ethan Shapiro do?" And then you do the opposite, because it's probably the right thing to do.
Hey, a compass that always points the wrong way still tells you what the right way is by exclusion.
That is a very good way of looking at it, Ian. So
it was an interesting day. I mean, I'm sort of jealous, Ian. You got to watch it. I sort of was constantly watching bit rates and making sure audio levels were right, and I was so tied up in the tech side. I need to go back and listen to it again. I did, Rob. I took your pen.
You did a great job.
And I took notes with your pen in court. I did not get any signatures with it, unfortunately. Mr. Shapiro was not offering them today, so I'll have to get that from him later for you. But I tried, so. But it was so cool. It was I'm still starting to soak it in and just analyze the whole situation.
Just next time, try to get him to sign a blank court order.
Oh, yeah. Either one.
Just like, I need your autograph right here.
Yeah.
On this line,
you can sign on behalf of J Hatch, right? Like, here's a check. It's blank. I'd like you to go ahead and sign that, please, sir.
Maybe I could get like a novelty check and say, "Can you sign this one?" And it says 261 million.
So yeah, it was. You put in the work to get down there, man. I was, and you actually made one of our colleagues, the purple-haired goddess, or whatever you want to call her, rather jealous, because I know that she, Emily D. Baker, has been trying to get access to that pool feed and try to get into courtrooms so that she can run it the way that she wants to run it. And I really wish that becomes a more commonplace thing. And I know that that's one of your goals.
Well, and I want to see the courts also start making. We had some good declarations from the court during, I think it was the Depp trial, where they said, like, "Hey, listen, we're going to have a pool feed and none of you own the rights to the feed." I want to see the courts make those, that kind of thing. The sort of standard condition. Because, I mean, you're a great guy. You're sharing your feed out there and being like, "Hey, come." But not everybody has been. So, yeah. Yeah,
it's... I am looking forward to expand. This was like a trial run. I mean, it was a live run, but it's something. I'm not sure if you know. Before I did this, I got my degree in this, and I this is what I do: cameras and broadcasting. So I've always wanted to do this and expand that a little bit. But I'm looking forward to. I think the openness and the access is crucial for our court system to succeed. Really, for everyone to understand it and trust it.
And I make the comment quite often that people are intimidated by court, and lawyers don't do a good job of kind of easing that intimidation. And one of the things that I like about doing this is being able to explain court so that it's not so intimidating. It shouldn't be. This is the place where you seek redress for wrongs, and you actually do make an effort to, oh, hey, Scott, there he is. You make an effort to understand it, because when you go in there, if it's this great mystical thing, and it should be given some reverence, but if you hype it up too much, you don't get the actual relief. Like, you don't get the justice. You don't get the thing you deserve to get. So I want people to understand court and not view it so, I guess, with an eye of fear. It's a courtroom. These are people. They're human, and they do the best they can. And it's the worst, best system we can come up with. So
it was impressive to observe. I mean, I've been in courtrooms as a kid. I liked watching court as a kid, but I really hadn't been in court for years. And just being able to go now and observe, a proceeding that I understood what was going on, first of all, because I didn't back then. It was mystical, but this one I understood, and knowing the players and seeing how it unfolded, and hearing those arguments in person, it's to me it was like going to like a big league game. It was like watching the Yankees play, or getting those Super Bowl seats. It was really just I mean, I wouldn't say it's a bucket list thing, because it's something I want to do more of, and honestly, the content it's covering is so serious and so important to the people who are affected by that. So I don't want to treat it like an entertainment thing, but to me it was also just incredible. It was surreal.
God, I love the fact that you're seeking this access. I love it, because the people that we need doing that and getting that access and broadcasting that are people that approach it the way you do. And it's pretty awesome to see that happen. Now, I know, having had this discussion with you last night when you were searching for a Wi-Fi password at Dr. Joe's house, I know that you had this wonderful plan about the setup that you were going to have. And I didn't say this last night because, well, I didn't want to stress you out anymore. But any person who's tried cases, Ian can probably highlight this as well. You always have this plan, and it goes great until it doesn't. And there's always curveballs. And I say it often on the stream, you got to learn how to hit the curve. So you're going through all of this plan that you had last night, and I'm going, oh God, don't say it, Rob. Don't say it, Rob. Don't say it, Rob. Don't say it, Rob. Was there anything that caught you off guard today?
Yes. Yeah, the best laid plans, nothing works quite the way it was supposed to. I had my number one goal was that I wanted to get a live stream out on my other channel that other people could use. And aside from a little glitch at the beginning, I think we caught that. My secondary goal was I wanted to use it myself on my channel. That part didn't go as smoothly. But
I was checking it out, trying to check it out on the Recovery Addict channel, and it's like, nope, not here. Okay, nope. Where is it? Okay, find it. And then, but you got your primary down. It was great coverage. It was. I was, and the audio was much better.
Oh my God, the audio is better. And I will say, getting it at 1080p versus the 720 that every other network shoots in was awesome. Awesome.
That was part of the problem. I was transmitting. Everyone gets it at 1080, but they transmit at 720. If I had clicked one button at the beginning and slowed down and had just a slight delay in there, the buffer, the bonding, it would have worked properly. There would have been no drops. But since I was doing almost no delay at all, it was just straight to live. Any little hiccup in the signal was dropping at the beginning. So I had to add an extra network to the four I had already bonded together to get this feed to work. I know that's nerd tech talk, but I learned something. Next time we'll do it right.
Man. So, we lost Ian for a second. While you're doing that, or while Ian's gonna do what he's doing, I'm going to go ahead and drop because people were asking where it was streaming. So I have just put Scott's second channel, Top Mark Media. That's pinned to the top of the chat. So you can see that, and you can go and you can check out, and please, if you do, go leave a comment, leave a remark, congratulate Scott for doing what he's doing. It's really cool to see. So please go do that. Check it out, subscribe, so you can continue to follow his journey along as he keeps pushing out this content. Please go do that. And please subscribe to Recovery Addict, his other channel as well.
Thank you, Rob. I've got a funny story to tell you about that channel, the other channel.
Too.
When we got to the courthouse this morning, it's just law and crime, their freelancer and me. And then a bunch of other people showed up, like at the last minute. They're like, I heard there was, the Fox shows up and Court TV shows up, and they recorded it, but I don't think they showed it live. And anyway, they showed up so late that they missed the intro. They were still trying to connect and everything. And the pool photographer is responsible for sharing the video with everybody who wants it. So the guy who shows up at the last minute says, hey, are you a pool photographer? Give me the feed. He has that right to just claim it and get a copy. And so she had a copy of the morning. I mean, during the first break, she had a copy of that. He just wanted a quick clip so he could leave and go home and get his job done. He just needed some cuts for the news. And she put the card in and was going to copy. And she says, oh, it's going to take too long. We don't have enough because the break's almost over. And she pulled her card out and it corrupted the file. And everything was gone. So all the people who came and just wanted a quick hit, she's like, I tried, sorry.
Oh my God.
And so they're just in a panic, right? They should have been there early. They should have been prepared. But I went to the news stations, some of which have given me hassle in the past for, how I use content. They've given me, the runaround. I said, look,
not anymore.
Top Mark Media. I've got the feed. It's clean.
Oh.
There's no logos. You can use it. And it sort of just saved their bacon a little bit, but and no.
The chat is quite observant, and one of the people in the chat was saying, "Didn't Scott used to have facial hair?" And I had the same remark. The beard is gone.
It's
I don't know if I like this.
I look like 18 when I well, not 18. I look like 48 instead of 58. That's the difference. My beard comes in white, and I think that's from having so many kids. But all the white hairs. But I figured I wanted to look presentable, and shaving off the scraggly beard was the way to do it.
Well, and the other question that I saw flying by in the chat was, did you see any protesters? Because I know you were going to try and get there early.
Yes, two. One of them was there when I got there, and another lady showed up later, but that was it, which was sort of surprising because if you look online, there were a lot of people suggesting that there was a big effort to organize protest, and it just didn't develop. There were maybe, I would say, 3 or 4 J-Hatch supporters in the courtroom, and 2 of them were those protesters, and then a couple people showed up later. But there was just nothing. There was no notification of the news media, so the protesters didn't have any cameramen to film them. Really, the only people that showed up was the Kowalskis, the plaintiffs team, and a couple supporters on their side. It was sort of quiet, and there was nobody for them to wave their signs at. But
well, you wouldn't expect to be. There's no one really testifying. It was motions argument only, and these things are oftentimes pro forma. But I would have expected at least something with the juror number 1 commentary that was going on.
Yeah, it was.
So I have to call out some gift fairies because there was a lot of gifting going on before I even started the stream. Gunther Gar, thank you for 10 gifted memberships. Ain Don, thank you for 5 gifted memberships. Midnight Dreary for 5 gifted memberships. Fiona W for 10 gifted memberships. Thank you. D Nova for 5 gifted memberships and then 10 more. Thank you for that. Paladin Phil for 10 gifted memberships. Thank you. Joshua, who's one of my wonderful mods. Thank you for 10 gifted memberships. Fiona, another 10 gifted memberships. Sandy, another one of my phenomenal mods. And Lady Drake, another one of my phenomenal mods. Thank you for 10 additional gifted memberships each. Shell C, who moderated the Discord channel that covers all of the LawTube. Thank you for 10 gifted memberships. Becky, thank you for 5 gifted memberships. Debbie W, thank you for 10 gifted memberships. Selena, thank you for 10 gifted memberships. Courtney Michelle, my word, thank you for nope, I take that back, not 50, 100 gifted memberships. Thank you. Nancy Robbins, thank you for 50 gifted memberships. Ryan Man YYC for gifted memberships, 5. Baby Steps for 5 gifted memberships. Y'all are going to make this chat turn 100% green.
Yes.
Sensationally Social, thank you for the gifted membership. You guys are amazing. Absolutely. I am left without words oftentimes, and I find that I say that more often than I would have expected. And I know that you have received a wonderful outpouring from these amazing people in chat, the amazing chat. So
this community is incredible.
Yeah.
I was talking to Dr. Joe. He called right before I came on here. I was talking to Dr. Joe. I was telling him about how I missed so much of the court case because I was staring at all the equipment, right? And he says, "Well, tell you what, I'm driving right now. As soon as I get home, I'm going to send you my notes." so I'm looking forward to that email because he was taking quotes and notes and things, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that. But he was saying the same thing, that this community, he didn't know anything about LawTube or LawTube adjacent, and he says it's been incredible just to discover the people that are out there and their generosity and their kindness, and it's just, you think of a group on the internet and nobody thinks that you're going to find something good. You think you're going to find trolls and anonymous people that are in their mom's basement just typing hate messages, and that's not what we have here.
My gosh. And just as an exemplar, coming in with an exclamation point, Nancy Robbins for 50 additional gifted memberships, and Karate Cat Mom for an additional membership. And Nancy Robbins sent me a whiskey advent calendar. My gosh. And then there was also, I wanted to pull this up. Rachel Dueck, incredibly kind. My engagement presents, congrats. Also, a take two because I accidentally had the wrong address associated with my card last time. But you say that, but then it goes through here too for the gift. Thank you for the engagement. Congrats. Thank you, guys. You guys are amazingly kind. Oh, we have a birthday. Oh, Scott, you didn't sing happy birthday to anybody.
I don't do acapella. I don't do acapella.
No.
So if I'm singing, it's going to be all three of us. I'm not sure. You want the high or the low part?
Well, I think I'm going to go with the verbal, just saying happy birthday to Debbie W. My singing voice is not quite warmed up. Happy birthday. Today's my birthday, and I'm giving to others today. I love that so much when people do that. Use your birthday as an opportunity not to receive, but to give. That's one of the cool things about Christmas. I love giving gifts. It's my favorite thing in the world. Welcome to all new members. Thanks to the 40th anniversary re-release. Today, I finally completed my collection of all 6 original My Little Ponies after 40 years. My gosh. Y'all are just
wow.
wild.
That's a long quest.
That's quite the quest indeed. So let's see. I wanted to, gifting stuff. Well, I'll get to that maybe at a break because I bought something to manufacture additional gifts, and I've been playing with it and I had a great time with it too. But Scott,
yeah,
how much time do we have you for, my friend?
Well, I just pulled into a rest stop so I could turn the camera on. I'll turn it back off and keep driving. But I just want to make sure, is the noise bad? I don't know how you can hear. I don't want to make it miserable for people.
It's fine. We are professionals.
If that's the case, I'll keep driving because I've got about 4 hours, 45 minutes left to get home. So
get
I'll be
home
around
to those
2 a.m.
little mini recovery addicts.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I just discovered that this rental car has a sunroof. I've been craning my neck to look out the window at things, and I've got like a full car length sunroof. It's a nice rental car. It's the only one that my head didn't hit the top on, so I had to go with this one. But it's been a fun trip. What can I say?
I still can't believe you got in the car and you went for a drive. I love it, dude. It honestly, and all of the praise that you're getting, all the attention that you're getting to the channels, everything, it is so amazingly well deserved because 1, you're a super stand-up quality dude. I mean, 1,000%. And 2, you put in a ton of work to get there. So,
well, I have to say the community made this possible. Literally, out of pocket on this trip, I don't think they'll have a penny that affects me. The people just came and said, "Hey, we want to help. We want to support." Dr. Joe, obviously, if you don't have to pay for a hotel, it gets a lot cheaper. And so they made it all possible, and it's the least I can do. It was wonderful. It's a great experience. I think this is the first of many. I learned a little bit. We'll do better on the next one, and expand. And
among the new members, we have Emily D. Baker, who has joined as a member. So Emily will be enjoying shop streams from now on. So, okay. So am I assuming correctly that you have not really watched the whole hearing yet?
I watched the whole thing, but
he was
some
there.
Things, yeah,
you were there.
I heard it all.
Processing it mentally instead of looking at your computer equipment.
Yeah. But there were some points that were quite poignant that I want to go back and watch and make sure I heard correctly. There was a point where Mr. Hunter was saying something about what we've learned from this, which when he said it, and just that first statement, I realized there was a lot there. But when he said it, he said what we've learned from this as a hospital, he was speaking, is to watch who we let in and how long we let them stay. And I'm thinking as far as like Sally Smith and Kathy Beatty, but no, he's talking about the Mayas of the world. He's talking about the kids
they wanted out.
Sheltered. Yeah, and then the way that conversation went, and he said basically what's going to happen is we're going to get them in and ship them back out to another hospital. And the judge had some snarky remarks saying, "You saying the other hospital would batter them like you did mine?"
Would have battered them. Yeah, he said
goodness.
Basically it would have happened the same way if they'd been shipped out to another hospital.
Because this is what we do with hospitals. Yeah.
The judge weighs in and is like, you're saying somebody like another hospital would have battered Maya,
I-
and
yeah.
just watching him like sit back on his heels is like, oh, because that's really one of the first times the judge has really kind of let his opinion slip on that.
Well, it's
And
not.
I
It's
was
not
like,
his. At this point, it's not his opinion. So he's not really
No.
expressing his opinion. He is expressing the verdict of the jury.
it was still a little bit his opinion. Like
He-
from the way that question was asked, it was a little bit his
He
opinion.
played his hands so close to his chest. I mean, sometimes we've seen some of his opinion in court or where he's leaning, but I flip-flopped. I'm like, I think he's leaning one way, and then he asked another question like, I think he's leaning the other. He could be on the Supreme Court, and I would have no clue where he's
Well,
going to go with this because he did such a good job with it. So
He's angling for an appellate job. I can tell you that based on how he conducts his bench in these motions hearings. Hey, Kurt, how you doing, bud?
Hello, everyone. How are you? And how are you doing, Scott?
I'm doing great. I'm going to
Great.
see if I can switch my camera to let you see just the drive. That way,
Oh, look at that exciting foot. That looks like the beginning of either
Roll
a
that
soft
beautiful bean
sit-
footage.
either a soft sit video or a
Traffic stop.
a horror
Somebody's
movie.
about to be yelling, am I being detained as they get pulled out of their car window?
now I
Oh
can
my
drive, but
gosh!
I can't.
Oh no! Okay, no, switch off. You're gonna make everyone in the chat really dizzy. Oh my gosh!
The car's fast, so
Yeah,
we're
this
up
is
to
not so
speed
bad.
now.
That's not terrible. Well, don't. You know what? Don't speed.
We got a fast car, fast enough so we can fly away. You and I need to make a decision. Leave tonight and live and die this way.
Yeah. And some people in the chat are saying this is the beginning of every single soft sit video. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But we have Scott behind the wheel and not a soft sit. So I imagine a different outcome.
Just remember UCC 2403 is the magic citation that makes it only for commerce.
No, don't do that. Scott, kill the video.
This is the
please.
worst advice.
Thank you, sir. So Scott's an avatar. I don't want people getting dizzy because I know that people are going to watch that and people will get a little bit dizzy. But
I wasn't getting dizzy. I was just enjoying it.
Some people will. I have had people tell me they get dizzy when I do certain things, like this stuff in the background right now. But I
It's
wanted to
festive.
kind of,
It's a Christmas tree.
well, I want to cover the actual hearing itself because we learned a lot.
Did we?
I think we did. I mean, let's see what we have. This one. Share. That's great. So this is Scott's feed, and the audio is in fact better, and that lovely 1080p. Whew. Yeah. Oh. Why is it not showing this one? There we go. Oh no. Why did that pause? That's a bad pause.
That's a Runkle style pause.
You did him dirty.
Talk about it and discuss that this is
It's hard to find someone looking good on pause.
Oh, but you can find them looking especially bad.
I don't understand what you mean. You couldn't tell that the yes was different than other questions, or you didn't know that.
Hang on, I'm having internet issues.
Was in your mind what you were so definitively
You're having the whole
saying
subscription.
is evidence of juror number 1 calling Sally Smith a Nazi. So, I mean,
Wait, hang on. Okay, we're gonna rewind a little bit because this is actually important. Oh, there's some tech issues from Scott. Let's see. 3-part test. Back. Here we go.
This cannot possibly be something that a juror would forget to disclose. This was a question directly asked. And as Your Honor and the court would review the affidavit, there's multiple instances in here where both juror number 1 and his wife state that their safety is at issue, that there were threats made against them that they wish to prosecute. That's certainly something that if disclosed, there would have been multiple follow-up questions and likely a peremptory challenge used. The second is one that we did make part of the court record.
For a
Obviously,
20-year-old
we apologize.
thing, they would have.
Yeah.
This was a 20-year-old, 20 years ago. This transpired in a domestic proceeding that is already sealed because they're domestic proceedings.
Yeah.
And what has bothered me extensively throughout this litigation is these last-minute filings. This was a comment I made. When you go up against attorneys and a party that has almost unending resources, they paper you to death. They will file anything and everything, and they will do it in a time period that it just seems inhuman because they have endless resources to do it. They filed this affidavit today. Why are they allowed to argue it?
I was looking for a copy of this affidavit and I couldn't find it.
So
Apologize for the sensitivity of this, but we have to make it as part of the record that in
Do you?
2002, juror number 1 was served with an injunction for domestic violence, of which there's a sworn affidavit of child abuse. That file is obviously sealed, so I can't see what the allegations are, but they are part of the record.
well,
Oh, it's a good thing no one leaked his name.
To disclose both during the questionnaire and during voir dire. This was never disclosed, as Your Honor can imagine. Had that been disclosed, that certainly would have led to a cause challenge, if not a peremptory, if the cause challenge was denied. The third, we had learned.
20 years prior to this trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
I love the quiet. Just
in the questionnaire prior to the one given to the witnesses, there was a list of witnesses that may be present, of which there was Deborah Salisbury. Deborah Salisbury, as we've learned and as we filed with the court, it turns out she was juror number 1's wife's attorney for her divorce proceedings, the same attorney who represented Mr. Kowalski. That was never disclosed to us either. The case law on this is very clear.
why is that relevant? Like, because they represented my now spouse in their prior divorce case, how am I supposed to know that?
yeah.
Which
Like you're throwing
which he
this
himself wasn't a
allegation
party
out.
to.
Exactly. You're
I think.
throwing this allegation out, and there's a lot of dots that you're not connecting,
Yeah.
and it drove me nuts to hear.
Under Rule 1.431, we're entitled to an interview of the juror if there's a reasonable basis, and I'll get back to that. But
I don't know
think
how
the
bad they're going to
controlling
be.
case law on
I'm
this
going to
that's
drop off and
really
just listen to the
undisputed.
live stream because I'm in a
That's
hole.
fine. That's fine, Scott. Thank you for jumping on and talking to us about your experience, man.
Yeah, cool.
Congratulations on being there. It was so cool to have you there.
Absolutely. Good work, man. It was fantastic.
It was awesome. Next one's going to be better. We'll get the glitches worked out. So
Drive safe. You have the link if you want to pop back in.
Yeah.
So here's
Thank you.
the thing. So one, it was smart for Shapiro to make this argument and not Hunter. If Hunter got up and made the argument, I mean, you can just imagine, I would have gone in with fire and brimstone. But when he phrases it this way, we're entitled to a juror interview. There's this possessive nature. It's like, we are entitled to interview the juror. It's very clear he wants to be the one asking the juror questions. The judge has something else in mind.
Yeah.
And I think the law has something else in mind too.
It is the De La Rosa case from the Supreme Court of Florida at 659 Southern 2nd 239. There is a 3-part test utilized to determine whether a juror's non-disclosure of information during voir dire warrants a new trial. The first part of the test is that the complaining party must establish that the information is relevant and material to the jury, to the jury service in this case. All 3 would be material and relevant, but certainly in a case where there's allegations of medical child abuse and a juror has been served with an injunction for child abuse, that's something that we would have to know about. Certainly being a victim of a crime, especially one involving one's family member, would be something we would need to know about, and both of those were withheld from us. The second test,
Why would they want to keep a child abuser off the jury? That seems like exactly what they want on.
Wait, hang on.
Ooh.
Oh,
Nice.
internet.
Yeah, child abuse. Who amongst us hasn't been there, right? Am I right,
There were
Jerry?
other juror
Wow.
questionnaires where the juror checked family members been a victim of a crime, and then did your side ask questions of those.
This is a great question. I love this question.
God, I
haven't
love
gone
that
back
question.
to all the voir dire, but
Well, you're making a statement, a very express statement that you would have used a peremptory challenge. And I'm just wondering if it was so important when that question was asked for other people, what did you do?
The how quick he came back with that second question, he was ready for this one. He wanted that. This is why I say that I think he's gearing for a seat on the appellate bench, because he very much acts and behaves in these motions. He's a hot bench. He asks the questions. He tries to dictate the argument in the direction where he thinks is most important to inform his ruling going forward. Great question, though. And Shapiro dodges the hell out of it. Like, I would have to go back and ask, you damn well know if you asked the question on that particular issue. You wanted this person on the jury because you knew they were law enforcement.
Mm.
law on what I'd have to go back to my voir dire questions and see what would happen. But I know that in each individual, for the questionnaire, all of these were asked by the court, if you recall, and that the court asked those questions. If we had follow-up questions during the individual sessions, we would have asked them if it was material to the case. Certainly, if somebody was saying they were a victim of a crime involving another family member, I absolutely represent to the court, that would be something I would have followed up on.
Would you
That's
have?
relevant.
No,
Would you have?
I would have.
In fact, the case law says.
Yeah, but did he? That was the
Everett
judge's
State
question.
Mutual v. Lawrence at 65 Southern 3rd 52, and Westgate Palace v. Parr 216 Southern 3rd.
Okay, this is going to drive me nuts.
747, that the counsel is not required to delve further into questions on the questionnaire if the answer is no. So
that's not the issue.
It's dodging.
But it was a decent dodge.
That part wasn't mine. Now, where I want to get to is some of the tech issues that Scott expressed, and some of them that I'm experiencing right now.
Am I too loud?
No, I think you're fine.
That this
It's
issue,
the hat.
we get to the merits of the issue.
we frankly did not appreciate it. Had we appreciated it, we would have raised it.
I don't understand what you mean. You couldn't tell that the yes was different than other questions, or you didn't know that?
No.
I'm going to have to do the disservice of putting this back down at 720.
You might have to
Hopefully that'll
download this
help.
one.
Was in your mind, what you're so definitively saying is evidence of juror number 1 calling Sally Smith a Nazi. So, I mean, what is it?
Well, with respect,
I mean, he's not just hot benching here. This is skepticism.
The lettering in the moment. Had we done
Well, your second supplement is extremely definitive. And so I'm wondering, 1, why is this issue not waived? And 2, what is the good faith basis for the statement and the assertion you made?
That question is going to piss me off when how the plaintiff responds. That question that the judge just asked is the exact phrasing for issuing sanctions, right? What is your good faith basis for asserting this in a pleading?
Mm-hmm.
If I am the plaintiff's counsel, that's the first thing I am hitting. I don't even let the judge ask me a question. I get up and on my walk to the podium, I say, you asked for a good faith basis. There is none. And just
Well,
on
you
the
can't say
walk,
that,
don't even
'cause-
let. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the other side say it? A plaintiff? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah. When plaintiffs get up, because it's a hot bench, you know the judge is going to go straight in with questions. So you know, as a litigator, you go up there. And you see it in the Supreme Court all the time with the oral arguments. When they start speaking and they give their opening monologue, a lot of the before the Supreme Court had the rule where you get 2 minutes uninterrupted, before they had that rule, you would see them go in this kind of 30 to 40 second speed run of their case. Man, they went and flew because they didn't want the justices cutting them off. That's one of those where you stand up and you, on your walk to the podium, you say, you asked for a good faith basis. It was the best question you could have asked with regard to that second supplement. And I will tell you right now, there was none.
Fair. Sometimes
I
you
mean,
get
the
a
thing
sentence
is-
out. And the old rules.
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing my Supreme Court appearance, it was like, okay, you got a very brief period before they're going to start hitting you with questions. Make it good. So, you got to do it. You got to take advantage of it.
I will go over Tom Elliott and the choice of putting him as the attorney that argues this motion in a minute, because I have a pretty good understanding of Mr. Anderson and how he felt about that.
Or actually Mr. Hunter made in the motion.
What other plausible explanation would there be for distinct lettering for Sally Smith?
You're the one making the assertion. You don't get to just rely on what else could there be.
In the eve of Mr. Anderson giving interviews to Court TV accusing the defense of following the Nuremberg defense of we're just following orders. Had this been only an isolated situation where one juror question has different lettering in the absence of any other suspicion of hostility, we may share this court's view that that would be an extrapolation. But
My recollection is that you all made a big stink about Mr. Anderson's interview that next day, and we had to talk about it and discuss it.
Here, this is the argument of it's waived. It's waived.
Yeah.
See how you can say you didn't appreciate the issue when you physically saw the questionnaire and you were later given it during the trial. So why is this issue not waived?
These issues are, from a legal standpoint, a procedural standpoint.
I'm going to download this damn thing. It's driving me nuts.
The motions for new trial and requesting a juror review are preserved as long as they're brought within 15 days. There's no legal obligation that we can see that all.
Yeah, I'm downloading this. While I'm downloading that, when we reviewed the response that was filed to the motion, plaintiff's first response, I thought, was their strongest. It was basically saying they had this information. They should have had this information. This is now waived. And my opinion was, based on that argument alone, we're done with this motion. But the judge is going to be cautious. And I think the caution, I get the point he's going to make when he's going to grant the interview.
No,
he's going to grant
not.
the interview. Yeah, he is.
No, he's not. No.
I think he
Yes.
will.
No.
He's been
Yeah, he will.
hinting he will, but that it's going
Will.
to be. I mean, he says, "Are you guys free for this date?" If I grant, I haven't decided, but are you free for this specific date for an interview?
Well,
That's not a question you ask if you're not really leaning in that direction.
He will grant it. Here's my thing, though. If I'm Judge Carroll, I'm granting it too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, here's my juror interview. Juror number 1, did you listen to all of my instructions about the trial? Why, yes. Did you follow my instructions of the trial? Why, yes. Okay, we're done here. I granted your motion for an interview. I interviewed him. I looked at him in the face and I asked him these questions. We're done.
let me say this, because I obviously can't give advice to juror number 1. But if it were me and I were married, I'd be filing a motion to quash the subpoena on the basis of marital privilege as afforded me by the Florida Constitution, and saying this is pointless because you're talking about conversations with my wife, which are privileged, and the motion should be quashed because it's moot.
Also,
And
we
by
send
doing-
each other sexy pictures. Leave my phone alone.
That part, we're not that part of the argument yet, because
People are saying I'm loud. Some people are saying I'm loud, and okay, I'll turn it down.
I think you're fine. You can.
The
turn it
sound
down a
is
little bit.
reflecting off the brim of your hat and then back into the mic. That's my theory.
Turn it
This
down.
is one where I think the judge is going to act. I've made the comment all along that Judge Carroll, in his rulings, appears very, very much aware that there are appellate issues that are going to be raised with regard to every one of his rulings. And all of his rulings have been aimed at preserving what he has done here in the trial court, right? the judgment notwithstanding the verdict arguments, the motion for directed verdict, he's been very careful, even with the jury instruction stuff. So where you have this imprimatur, where on paper, this argument, while I don't think it has even an ounce of truth to it, he makes a question about, he asks a question of plaintiff's counsel, doesn't this at the least have the appearance? And when he said that word, the appearance of perhaps misconduct or the appearance of something that might have occurred, that's when I knew he was going to grant the interview, but he's going to constrain the hell out of it. This
Yeah,
is
he's not going to let them go on the fishing trip they want to go on.
fishing expedition.
And they want to
No.
go on not just a fishing expedition, but sort of an abuse expedition.
Uh-oh. I think we lost Ian.
They want to go through. Whoa. Okay.
You're right.
Hang on. I'm doing this, so I have the video pulled up. Hang on. Now, the only problem with having the video pulled up is I can't boost the audio, which is frustrating. So I'll have to turn mine
else
down.
down. Yeah.
Find the button. See, it's not just my internet that's going wonky tonight. Let me do this. We are professionals, folks. The only problem is I'm a professional lawyer, not a professional streamer. Audio is going to
Why
be a
not
little bit
both?
more quiet. A little bit more quiet. So I'm going to bump my mic setting down. Kurt, I'm going to bump yours down too.
Sure, that's fine. See, when I was streaming this
And-
morning, I was putting it through OBS so I could get the volumes about even. So that was nice.
I don't know what the issue ever is with this stuff, man. It is tech is tech, and it's going to just drive me nuts all the time. Here we go.
He's not going to grant the interview. I can't fathom that he would grant the interview.
He will.
If he grants the interview, I'm going to have many cursey words. Extremely prolific cursey words. You'd have to be insane.
Can you hear the audio at all?
Nope. You can't do it in Media Player. It has to be in a Chrome browser. Yeah, that's one of the wonderful things about StreamYard. It has to be in a Chrome browser. You can't do it in Media Player.
Let me tell you how much I hate this right now. So we're
Mm,
going back to the browser. I'm going to
mm.
close out the other browsers that I've got open.
Launch Crime had a pretty good stream. I wound up using them after a while. Just saying.
We're back in the browser. I've closed the other browsers that I have, or the other windows I have open.
Now people are saying I'm
Please,
too quiet
internet.
because I turned myself down.
I know. Please, internet.
We
Please
can't make you
don't.
happy.
Please don't be annoying. I'm going to go back to the auto adjust on the mics. Kurt, I got yours. So don't worry about that.
Juror one's gonna have to get a lawyer pretty soon to file that motion to quash.
I think filing the motion to quash draws more attention to it. Let it be a nothing burger. Let it be a nothing
No.
burger, man.
Fuck that. Fuck that. That's what I say, in my humble opinion.
That's fine. And that's the thing. You can have 5 lawyers in a room and have 10 different opinions.
These issues need to be timely brought during the trial. Now, certainly, Your Honor, had we appreciated it, we would have added it to our motion. But given the breadth of it, I did not appreciate the different lettering at the time. And that's all I can tell you. And it sounds, I don't think the court did. It wasn't glaringly obvious to us as we're reading questions from the bench and focused on the substance of the question.
Well, how did you come to appreciate the difference?
Somebody pointed it out to me.
Reddit.
Who? Well, the next question is who pointed it out to you?
On October
Who?
19th,
Damn it.
we put a lot of the social media postings of juror number one's wife. And look, spouses of jurors are entitled to opinions. That's not the issue. The issue is
Here's another reason. Here's another
Go
reason the
ahead.
judge shouldn't grant it. If he grants it, it makes the whole issue about the 8.4 misconduct issue basically evaporate, because how can it
Yeah.
be, how can the bar find that it's been harassing to the juror when the judge himself rules, well, this is fine.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. I know he's gonna do it. And he's not gonna order sanctions on the motion. I know he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it because he is focused on one thing only, and that's preserving the appellate record.
Well, I guess I do have so low respect for Judge Carroll that I should refactor that into my equation. So I will gird myself to be massively disappointed.
People are going to have opinions about the judge. I still hold a pretty high opinion of him. I get more disappointed when I get to the sanction stuff and when I get to the motion to compel, but I really do think he's going to grant this. Now, the question I have is, when they're talking about what this looks like.
Yeah, John Hopkins doesn't really answer the question.
Well, this part here.
Let me ask you this. Assume for the sake of argument, I agree with you that from an appearance standpoint, or maybe the cumulative nature of the instances that you have laid out, suggests we need to have an interview. What type of parameters would you recommend be for that interview?
Right. And Your Honor, honestly, I've never had to make this request in my 20 years as a trial lawyer. I will say I understand.
This wasn't the time.
There's never really a good time to break out the 20 years as a trial lawyer.
The need to respect the judicial process and the jury process, and not under their lives. I've never called a juror. Obviously, that would be improper and illegal. Their deliberations are theirs, but in a situation like this, with the totality of what's going on, we obviously need not just an interview to see who said what to whom, but the problem is either one of them could just frankly say, well, we didn't talk, and that can't be the end of the inquiry.
Oh, yes, it can. This part is where I start, and I think yes, when someone there's an objection that we have in trial proceedings. It's called asked and answered. When someone says no, and that is their answer, if you ask the same question again, objection asked and answered. You have to live with that answer. You might be skeptical of the answer, but you don't get to go on a fishing expedition.
I would like to know, since juror number one's wife and Julie
Notorious.
were in close contact, apparently new best friends, texting about the trial, talking about boyfriends, I'd like to know what the communications were. And, you know, again, I know it's a big request, but we'd like to know.
I would like to have discovery of non-parties to the litigation who were merely present in the courtroom. I would like to know the substance of their communications, non-parties to the proceeding. I have a big question on whether the judge can actually order that. I don't think they've subjected themselves to the jurisdiction of having their phones surrendered. This is a tree that you do not bark up. You want their phones?
You want the phones of random people? Yeah, no. Yeah.
What text messages were going on between them. If the court wants to view them first and, you know, look at them and decide, is there anything there? And you can tell us. I don't know any other way to do this, because otherwise, you know, I mean, he, at least according to his own social media post, he's been in contact with Mr. Anderson, who's told him not to say anything. So he's lawyered up to that extent. He's going to be, you know, I'm not suggesting that.
Dude, this is where the argument completely breaks down.
Counsel would ever say to him anything other than tell the truth. I'm not, but you know, he's been lawyered up at this point and advised multiple times that if you say the wrong thing, you're going to throw out this verdict. So I don't know that we can just rest on the assumption that if the court were to ask a series of questions, did you consider any outside influences? Did you hear anything? If that we get frank denials at that point, that would satisfy the inquiry. In this age of social media where our primary concerns came from social media,
Oh, he goes and says our primary concerns came from social media. Well, here's the thing, Mr. Shapiro. I'll give you, let me make you this trade. If we're going to go down this route and avenue of, these two random individuals, their phones and their communications, do we get to ask that of you and your wife? Like, do we now get to see the communications that you two had? What about anyone else?
The communications between him and his wife are privileged no matter where they happen. The text messages are privileged. The emails are privileged. They're all privileged.
And when you start talking about that, like, Shapiro, give me your phone and your wife's phone. And it seems very clear. Yeah, that's privileged. We can't go into that. Why can we have it with regard to this juror? And again, this is a single juror among 6 that all ruled against you unanimously on every count.
What I suspect we're going to see is a question that just says something along the lines of, did you have any communications about this trial with any other person during the trial? Something, that doesn't specifically target the wife or anything like that. It's just because, the judge is keeping control over what questions get asked.
I'd answer to the extent
Shapiro's.
I would answer that question to the extent it does not concern my wife. No. And he says, "What about your wife?" That's privileged.
Everything about this is bothering me beyond the, can we just have him reaffirm that he didn't do these things? Elegant pissed me off.
I'm not playing games with this. I'm not playing games. I'm not playing the Judge Carroll, apparently we give everything JH wants all the time game either. I'm not playing his game. He can F off too, just like Johns Hopkins can, as far as I'm concerned.
We're an hour early for that, Rob.
Too strong an opinion?
No, that's fair. Why are we giving them even an inch in this motion? My opinion is you don't get to go there. You don't get to interview the juror. That's my opinion.
I think he's doing it because he really wants to foreclose.
Yes,
he wants to foreclose any appeal issues. He's going to ask some very general, he's not going to ask, did you talk about this with your wife specifically? I don't think. I think he's going to ask, if my bet is he's going to ask, did you have any communications with anyone else? Just the same questions they've been asking every time.
Hell, if Peter Tragos will pro hoc vici represent me, I'll represent Juror 1 and his wife in this bullshit. I'll do it for free.
Wear the cowboy hat.
Here's the thing, Kurt. There's a point of that I think is very contrary to any productive. Because if, let's say, the Court of Appeals gets the transcript, let's say the Court of Appeals gets the record, right? Hypothetically speaking, they get the record of this case and they get these assertions that are like a big heaping pile of crap. But it's a bunch of them. And you have the judge on the record saying there is at least the appearance, even if there's the appearance, right? And if the juror is brought in and the juror says, I'm not answering those questions, that juror might have the right to say that. But that bolsters the argument that JHatch has in front of the Court of Appeals, saying there's the appearance of impropriety. You can say, I have privilege. You can rest on privilege. You can also have essentially an adverse inference drawn from your assertion of privilege. Fifth Amendment privilege. If I assert the fifth in the civil proceeding, there can be an adverse interest drawn against me that they can find that my assertion of that privilege would satisfy the preponderance of the evidence standard.
Well, I can tell you, if somebody's asking for, hey, I want the communication between, you know, you and your wife. I'm like, no, you know, just like, and it's not like it's anything, you know, super spicy. It's just personal. I'd be like, okay, well, I guess we're going to have a problem then.
If invoking your rights under the Florida Constitution results in an adverse inference for a non-party, then, you know, shoot me.
It does. It does in Virginia when I have divorce cases and I put the person, the paramour, up on the stand, or the mistress or the person on the stand, and that's not the party of the litigation, not the person that's getting a divorce. And I ask them a question about whether they did or did not engage in adultery with the other party. And they say, I plead the fifth. I am allowed under the law to ask for an adverse inference.
Well, fine. You do you, and I still don't care. Juror 1 should invoke it. I don't give a damn.
Yeah,
I'm not playing games with this bullshit. That's
fine.
my view.
That's fine. And that's why I said lawyers can have different opinions. Like I said, I think the Judge Carroll has put the writing on the wall that he's going to allow the interview. He's going to constrain it. Now,
I think he will
here's
too.
one of my questions is just, I am of the opinion that if an interview takes place, it takes place in chambers, outside the presence of the public. The judge is the only one asking the questions. Counsel can propose questions to the judge to ask, but the judge is free to ask them or not ask them as they see fit. And once the judge asks the questions, counsel can later, outside, when the juror is excused, counsel can then note their objections. You don't get to try and rile up the juror, because that's the other question the other problem I have. Let's say that Judge Carroll is asking questions and the juror gives the answer, I followed your instructions. And you have Hunter or Shapiro piping in going, oh my God, I can't believe this. And the juror is then sitting there going, oh no, I did not, like, and says additional words, right? I'm not letting that happen. No way. And the idea of the phone or social media or a computer, he wants a freaking forensic investigator or forensic tech to disassemble the phone. Well, not disassemble, but take a mirror of the phone and determine whether there was any deleted messages. He wants a forensic analysis.
Why wouldn't the judge do that to preserve his almighty record?
Because you can go a little bit, but you can't go all the way.
I mean,
And
if I'm
court-
juror number 1 right now, I'm spending the weekend taking pictures of my taint.
That was such an inopportune time to take a sip.
Oh, I timed it. I saw you were sipping, and I was like, now's the time.
Here's my phone and all of my millions of cat photos. And by the way, here's my. But because
Here you go, disclosed.
Well, because the video is giving me nuts, giving me a nightmare. I'm not gonna be able to pull the video up because I can't honestly stomach watching that thing and having the spinning wheel happen 9 million times. I am plugged in to Ethernet. I have full everything. It's just the video is not cooperating right now. I might actually. I wonder if I do Law and Crime if it would cooperate a little bit better. I don't know. I don't know why it would, but I can try. I hate Law and Crime. But let me see. So Elliott gets up and makes the argument for the plaintiffs. This is a judgment call. And it's one of those trial judgments that I think you make and you're going to question it for a long time. Greg Anderson has routinely been the person that stands up and makes most of these arguments, right? But they believe that Elliott is the appellate lawyer who's actually had one or two of these issues before with juror interview questions. And Elliott gets up and begins making the argument, but he starts in a hole. Like, he starts off making an argument that just isn't impassioned. He starts in the wrong place. He's not aggressive enough. He doesn't push hard enough. He doesn't know the facts in and out. he might know the law pretty well, but then again, he doesn't express it over and over and over again. He doesn't re-emphasize it, and he's too conciliatory to the judge's questions. The judge is asking questions and he's answering them like directly instead of rephrasing the question back to the judge. Get into that debate. You hear Kurt, Ian, and I argue all the time. When we argue and we try to make our points, I'm not just taking every single point of the hypo that Kurt is giving me or Ian's giving me. I'm changing it. I'm trying to make my argument. It pissed me off that there was not an impassioned argument. No, he's not a trial lawyer. He's an appellate lawyer. He argues on pleadings mostly and then gives oral argument in front of a panel of judges. I think Anderson's kicking himself. I think he wants, and you see him ask several times, if the court has a question, the court has a question, the court has a question. He wants to make that argument. And damn it, I think he should have. I think he should have made the argument. I don't think it was as much focused on the law as it was on the facts. And anyways, can't unring a bell. I think the interview is going to happen. And I think it's the judge is going to say out of an abundance of caution. I almost feel like he's going to write that in his order. I can almost write it for him. In an abundance of caution, I will allow an interview to take place, but it will be constrained in this regard. And Kurt, I see you shaking your head. I know, because I don't think it's the right call either.
No, I was kind of surprised when he started going down that road and was like, if I allow the interviews, how would we do this? And if I allow the interviews, you guys are free January 3rd, right? I was like,
I'm amazed.
That's not right.
I'm amazed the judge is even considering this. I called Johns Hopkins' motion frivolous, which is a word I use very reservedly. And the fact the judge is even entertaining this is blowing my mind. If he grants something I deem to be completely frivolous, I don't know what the hell I'm doing in this profession.
Ian, you know how many not Ian, Kurt, you know how many judges have done something in a case that I've had that I have thought was completely frivolous on the other side, but they did it nonetheless?
Some.
A lot. It's an unfortunate thing, but it does occur. So let's see if I've got the long crime feed pulled up. So let me see if this is any better when I try to share this one. So there's Mr. Altenburn. Let's go back to Mr. Elegant.
Has to be material. And when you don't ask any of the others, and they can't come in here and tell you, oh yeah, we asked everybody that listed this, we asked them. You know, they haven't gone back, they haven't even done that exercise, I think because they know it wouldn't support their view. But the what really happened here is they didn't ask juror number one anything because he had a law enforcement background. They were happy to have a law enforcement person on the jury. They're generally conservative. They liked him until, I guess they didn't like some of his questions as things went along. We had the earlier motion, which was properly denied. So I'm happy to try to answer any of the questions, but we don't think there's enough here to do anything.
Well, assume for the sake of the argument.
I hate that. I'm happy to answer any of the questions. No, you keep talking until the judge shuts you up.
No, there is a time and a place to say I'm done.
It wasn't here.
I don't think it was here, but there is a time and a place.
That I feel that there's a need for a juror interview. So make that assumption. All right. What is the
now that's
what are the contours for that?
That's judge speak for I'm doing this.
I think it would be clear that you would conduct it, Your Honor. First off, we're not talking about the deposition. We're talking about the court conducting an interview. When I've been through this before, that is the way it has always been done. You don't let one side or the other have their way with a juror in a deposition setting. So you would conduct any discussion like that. It would have to be very limited. I mean, this business about I want to get into all the text and all the stuff, you know, that would be unprecedented. Every time after this, there's an adverse verdict. You're going to hear people saying, "Well, okay, I want to get that juror's text with his spouse or his cousin or his best friend or whatever." whatsoever. I mean, where are we going to go with this?
That is where like 80% of my argument would have been on take what they are asking, calculate it out to its logical conclusion, and show it for how ridiculous it is.
Well, and also say, listen, they're saying that you have the right to inquire into the phones and the communications of people who were merely present in court. How does this affect the open court principle? If anyone who shows up to watch a court proceeding, absolutely go to town on it.
Well, I wanted to give an example about this because I actually thought about this a little bit ago because I saw people asking the question I think I was watching a little bit of Peter earlier, and I think I was watching with you, Ian, and some people were asking questions. And Kurt, I don't know if you saw it in your chat when you streamed earlier as well, about how is it okay? How is it this way where a juror and the spouse can be in there and people don't know, or would they ask the person to exclude the jury? And I was thinking about a hypothetical about this. Let's say that Mischief Manager, who lives in the same county as I do, let's say that she gets called for jury duty. I'm a lawyer. I know the rules, follow the rules, but I know that she's being called for jury duty and I'm in Fairfax Circuit Court that day. You think I'm not going to pop into that courtroom? I am absolutely going to be in that courtroom. I'll be sitting there smiling, laughing, watching the attorneys, watching the judge that I also probably know and have appeared in front of.
My wife
all
had
the
jury
players.
duty and I didn't pop in and watch, but this
I
was
might
also
if-
during COVID times when the jury was like, sort of remotely, and it was weird.
Well, but take my hypo all the way, right? I am an attorney. I know the ins and outs of courts. I know evidentiary rulings and objections. I know how to make arguments. I know the judge that's overseeing this. I know the attorneys making the arguments, and I know one of the jurors. I watched the entire time. Someone approaches me and says, I make known to the public. That's my fiance in the jury box. Okay. So they say, well, what do you think she's going to say? Well, I can tell you that she's probably leaning this way. And I imagine if she's given the opportunity to ask a question, she's going to ask a question of this witness. And it's probably going to be this. And I think the judge is probably going to read it, right? I am speculating, but I'm giving you speculation based on my prior knowledge of all of the characters. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
This was also after the question was asked, wasn't it? Like, doesn't the judge say, hey, didn't the question come first? And it's like, well, yes. It's like, oh, right. So there is no problem here because the question came first.
Take my hypothetical even further, because that's what we do. Logical conclusion of this. I am also me. I am a streamer who streams court proceedings.
Shit, I'm learning new things now every day.
I know. Well, about me being a streamer, I know.
Yes, exactly.
Let's say hypothetically that I walk out of that courtroom and I don't just tell one person. I go on a live stream and says, so I was in court today and I saw that my fiance was seated as a juror in this particular case. I know both attorneys in the case and I know the judge. I can tell you where she's probably leaning. I can tell you what she's probably thinking because I know her. And there's nothing wrong with me saying that publicly at all. And you know what? We can go to dinner that night after court and not discuss a damn thing that happened in that courtroom because I followed the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this something nefarious? But if the judge pulls me in for an interview and the judge says, Ms. Morton, I'd like to have you come in for an interview. Sure. Did you speak with Mischief Manager about any of this? No. But you were on a live stream. Mm-hmm. And you would have us believe that you didn't talk to her about it? Yeah.
Correct.
Surprise, surprise. Why is that nefarious? And when the trial is done, you know what we're going to talk about at dinner? Oh my God, I have to tell you everything about what I observed and the lawyer that you were hearing from and all the evidence that didn't get in that you weren't allowed to consider. I have to tell you all of it. And I'm allowed to do that. There's nothing wrong with this.
my wife did jury duty, and we literally didn't talk about it other than just like, okay, so I'll drop you off, kind of thing. Now in Canada, we're not allowed to talk about it afterwards. I'm not allowed to, like, so. But we just didn't really have any interest in talking about it either. It was just like, okay, that was, it is what it is. I don't think you can necessarily assume that everyone's going to talk about their spouse, yeah, I don't like the fishing trip aspect of it, I guess is.
No, and the idea that, and this gets even worse, the idea that they would say, Rob, where's your phone? No, you don't get that. No, no, no. Judge says, I order you to turn off your phone. I'm sorry, Judge. What phone? I mean, why? You can ask me the question.
I'm sorry, but I mailed it to a non-extradition country yesterday.
I mean, you can ask me the question. You can ask me whether I talked to Mischief about
North
it.
Korea. You could go get it.
But you don't get my phone.
Yeah,
and damn it, a counsel certainly doesn't get my phone where I'm talking about the mini mischiefs or what I had for dinner or, anything else in my life. You don't get that. Or, in my particular case, other attorney-client privilege communications with other clients.
Oh, that would be that's the thing is for me, if they say, hey, we need your phone, it's like, oh, cool. This is going to be a proceeding because you don't get my phone.
And the other part about this is the absolute hypocrisy in J Hatch's argument here. The hypocrisy in, we want the juror's phone and the juror's wife's phone and Jules's phone, but because we don't believe what they say. But when it comes to our witnesses, you have to believe what they say.
And that
no,
box of evidence for just also the box of evidence, we're never producing that.
Yeah, you saw the Sally Smith with the shovel on the thumbnail today.
Sally Smith with the shovel in the parlor.
I don't know that I've been. I mean, I was, like I said, this goes back to, remember when I talked about the cross-examination of Kathy Beatty and how I actually talked to Greg Anderson about that, and I asked him, like, you want that one back, don't you? And he goes, oh my God, so bad. He was exhausted. He wants it back. Ian, you've probably had witnesses that you've wanted to cross-examine again because you weren't at your best.
Oh, absolutely. I've had witnesses where 15 minutes after they're done, you're like, I have another question. And it's too late. Once you give the witness up, they're gone.
And you want it back. This is an argument I want. If I'm the plaintiff, I want this back. I want this argument back. I want the chance to argue it a different way. Oh. This was frustrating. So the hearing continues on the juror issue. I think he's going to give the interview. He shouldn't, but he will. Then you get to the issue of remitter and whether the judge should downwardly modify the damages award. And
whether they should go to mediation.
Well, that comes later. But downwardly modifying the mediation or downwardly modifying the damages award is when asking questions of Mr. Altenburn, who's the appellate lawyer for J Hatch. Mr. Altenburn is asked the question of, well, how would I downwardly modify it? Right. You are telling me the jury reached this conclusion. They pulled it out of thin air. How would I modify it downward? And Mr. Altenburn basically says you pull it out of thin air. Well, no, because I can see some massive appellate issues there. Like, so you fix the thing that you say was wrong, picking a number out of thin air, by doing another wrong thing, picking another number out of thin air. So I know that people are saying they're probably going to modify downward. I don't think the judge is going to do that. I don't think he's going to touch the verdict. And the questions really didn't point in a direction that would suggest that he would downwardly modify it. Same thing with the JNOV, or the judgment notwithstanding the verdict, the directed verdict, renewed motion for directed verdict. He's already ruled against him. He's not going to change his mind. He might pretend like he's listening to change his mind. He's not going to. So a lot of today were motions that really don't matter. They're not significant. Except for the juror issue, which was frustrating to listen to, exceedingly frustrating to listen to. And then the other part where I got very frustrated was in this argument on sanctions.
Or either is or isn't by statute. So in our view,
Oh, come on.
Judge, you would simply enter a judgment based upon the amount that the court determines, again, not prejudging where the court's going to go on this. And then if there were a need post-trial for an amendment, then we can take care of that. But to us, it's extremely important that we get a judgment filed, obviously, because interest and other needs.
I think interest is like 50,000 a week, or is it 50,000 a day? I forget what the interest is. So they're asking for the judgment. The court's not going to enter the judgment.
Shovelfuls of money.
Yeah, it's tons of money. It basically makes like, and Mr. Altenburn makes the comment like, I'll be making this argument in front of a different judge because he's talking about the appeal. Sir, Jay Hatch is going to have a very different question on their hands if the judge enters this judgment and it begins to accrue interest at 50,000 per day. If it's 50,000 per day, Jay Hatch's cost benefit analysis on whether you are or are not making that argument in the appellate court changes. So we get to the sanctions.
And I don't need a final answer this moment. Are you all going to want to pursue sanctions against each other for all the number of issues that have been filed? And then frankly, someone's going to have to come up with a roster of all of, I've got some that I know that I've put aside, but I mean, there's quite a few. And so, and it's both sides against each other. So it's not like it's one side only.
I think maybe the question is, both sides are going to just pack up tents and go home on this without pursuing one another. I don't have authority to define at this point in time to do that, and I don't.
Which is why I said I don't need a final answer right now.
Like everything else, we would be dropping things that they're not dropping things. So maybe there's a way to resolve this. We haven't talked about it.
I think we need to see the final judgment first, Judge, to make that decision, and obviously confer with our clients. We would point out that we have proposals for settlement that some will be filing and pursuing fees from that. So
Well,
those tie into it.
attorney fees for substantive claims is not what I'm talking about. I mean, they're saying that you did bad,
You're saying they did bad, sanctions issues. The judge is basically saying, don't make me do this.
Yeah, the judge is like, do we
saying that they
really
did
have to
bad
do this?
and, sanctions.
And the answer is
sanctions,
yes.
Sanctions. So I see Mr. Hunter standing up, so I'll.
I was going to make reference to the proposal for settlement matter. There are going to be some issues regarding the validity of some of those.
I assume there would be.
And there's also, in my mind, I have not discussed this with Mr. Altenburn, in my mind, going to be litigation over sanctions or TFSs or whatnot. There's an issue of if there's an appeal going on, it's got to be a relinquishment to deal with that. It's my understanding of the issue.
Hunter's wrong on this. They have concurrent jurisdiction. The issuing tribunal maintains jurisdiction to issue sanctions, notwithstanding the fact that the matter has been appealed. So it's still within the breast of the court to issue sanctions for conduct by parties who appear in front of that trial court. It doesn't just go away because the appeal has been made. I think Hunter was wrong on that one.
So that may factor into all of this.
Or maybe it's a collateral issue that I would still have jurisdiction.
Maybe so.
I'm not putting you on the spot, Mr. Altenburn, but
The potential for further jurisdiction, I don't, I'll tell you, I know the answer.
I think fees are collateral.
well, attorney fees are collateral. That's easy, but that's on the substantive claims. I'm not talking about a proposal for settlement.
All right, come on, Nick. I need you.
Like I said, I'm not going to enter anything before Christmas. So maybe by next Thursday, you can file something and let us know. The clerk is closed on Friday, so there won't be anything that can be processed after 5 o'clock on Thursday.
You guys, I know that Kurt is muted. He knows that he is muted. Kurt is upset about how this hearing went and how the judge is ruling on it. He's
And he
allowed to
wants
be
to
upset
swear
about it.
without.
And he wants to swear without getting my channel taken down. So he's doing that behind a mute button, which is in his control. Yeah.
It's also in our control, but I will not turn it off randomly because.
Yeah. No, because if he is cursing behind that, he's allowed to do that. You're allowed to have all kinds of opinions. I think it's BS too. It's just it's the way that proceedings go sometimes.
I have a case management note here. Is there anything that we need to otherwise address that we have not yet addressed today?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Whitney,
We have a motion to compel, we filed on the 6th. Sit.
you can sit if you want.
We filed a motion to compel regarding the immediate jeopardy documents. And yesterday, we received a privilege log, and I believe we're going to file a renewed objection to those documents. The court order produced immediately at trial. There were 2 boxes, an inventory provided to us. Sorry, an inventory of 2 boxes provided to us. 2 boxes of documents had not been.
Ian's going to jump in a minute to go say hi to one of our other friends, and he'll be back shortly. So
Yep,
if you see him disappear, that's him disappearing.
I'll see you guys. See you guys in a few. Cheers.
This argument, see Ian. This argument was also one that kind of frustrated me. It's at the end of the hearing, and I hate the fact that it came at the end of the hearing because there's fatigue that sets in. And honestly, I am pretty astounded by the court's direction, the argument made by Mr. Hunter, and what I think was perhaps a missed opportunity in Mr. Whitney's argument. I love Nick. And, Nick, sorry if I'm going to talk bad about the argument itself, but you didn't focus on a specific word enough. And it was that the court already ordered that these be turned over. The court ordered. It's not a matter of you requested it. You requested it, and the court ordered that it be turned over. And this part I got pissed at the judge about.
We would like the court to compel the production of those documents, which we have not yet received, not even the unprivileged documents. Now that they filed an extensive privilege log and a renewed objection yesterday.
You remember those 2 boxes on the last day when Hunter got up and made the comment in open court to the judge to say that they have 2 boxes of documents that are available in a conference room for them to review? 2 boxes. Well, lo and behold, the 2 boxes walked out of that courthouse that day and have not been seen since. Word is that there's a person with a shovel somewhere.
What a surprise.
I know. Shocking.
Who could have predicted that?
Anyone that was viewing this. 2 documents walk out of that courthouse after the judge orders.
Oh, no, it's just another in a very long series of unfortunate events. Why does this keep happening to Johns Hopkins? With all their cell phones getting lost and the cloud data lost in a farm in Kansas.
And the
and
witnesses
the boxes
unavailable.
disappearing from the conference room. all these plagues of a series of unfortunate accidents. Wow, Johns Hopkins really going with the dog ate my homework excuse for the. How many times are we into this now? I've lost count.
9 million. I don't know. It's how many 3,000 plus docket entries. I hate lawyers that play this game. Hunter makes the comment, you know, Judge, we will turn it over if the court orders us to turn it over. He already did.
Several times. Several times. Several times.
This is
a panoply of times. I have no respect for the judges who have sat on this. I have no respect for them. They have no backbone, and they keep pushing because apparently they think the judge isn't going to be there. And now you're predicting they're going to grant this juror one hearing, which is just the cherry of this shit parfait, because it is only an avatar, emblematic, the culmination of the weakness of these series of judges who apparently have absolutely no spine collectively. And I don't, going back to being muted.
You're seeing this play out in this trial. I guarantee you this is played out in other trials. Perhaps not as severe, but I guarantee you we just don't see it. This is the part of court and law that frustrates me a lot, that you guys don't see. Because it's usually done in motions practice and discovery disputes back and forth. And you have some attorneys that play fair and some that do not. I will give you 2 guesses as to which Mr. Hunter is. You'll only need one. You probably don't even need a guess. It is remarkable.
This is my thing, right? Because what's the incentive not to play fair if there's no one going to be to stop you?
And this is what makes bad lawyers. This is why bad lawyers continue
it's equivalent.
Bad lawyers.
It's equivalent to a referee of a game, right? Who's blatantly like just not calling things because they don't want to interfere too much.
Well, you know,
what is the incentive? What is the incentive for the team not to just put 20 people on the field? What's the incentive for them not to have, you know, brass knuckles in their hands?
Kurt, this is actually kind of a good opportunity. There was a series of events that took place on this past Sunday involving the Kansas City Chiefs. Shout out to the younger Whitney. Kansas City Chiefs had one of their players line up offsides, and they scored a touchdown on the play, but it was called back because they were offsides. And there was an outcry by the Chiefs because they say you don't call that penalty in that instance.
I remember that.
Basically, yeah, right. Because a lot of these penalties go uncalled, right? And some referees will watch the play out, and if the penalty had no impact on the play itself, they kind of don't call it. They say, there's no penalty on the play. And I have always hated that. Like, I have despised that, because what you're doing is you are encouraging the violation of the rule by not calling it consistently. If the player is offsides, call them offsides. It's a rule for a reason. And what you do by not calling them offsides, what you do by not calling them out and saying flag on the play, is you have told them and you have reinforced them when they get up in front of the media and they say you don't throw the flag on that play, when it was clearly offsides. You cannot do that because it creates a different set of rules.
Right.
Unspoken.
And but the law is the law, right? Whether you're playing football or you're Johns Hopkins. And look, this isn't some situation where, and it's been known to happen from time to time, where some freak thing happens and the ref is looking at me like, geez, this doesn't really quite make sense in this particular application. Or even there's no rule for it, right? That happened in baseball once, where both the batter and the pitcher were ambidextrous. And so they kept changing hands to keep changing. And eventually the ref just had to make up a rule, because it's there's no rule to deal with this situation. And then later they codify the rule. But it's like, it's not that kind of situation where it's like we have to invent something because we don't know what else to do.
No,
Where
there's a
this
rule.
situation is applied. This is bread and butter, black law, clear, no ambiguity. I don't care if you're a ref on the football field or the ref in the courtroom. The law is the law. The law will make you its bitch.
And this is where I push back on myself a lot, where I make remarks in the past. I've made remarks in the past about how, you know, as long as the judge is calling the game consistently,
Yeah.
that I'm not bothered by it. But I actually, this is an example of where I'm wrong on that. I'm a trial attorney, right? So I play with, not play, but I litigate cases the way they are in front of me. And I use the rules to my advantage, and I use the unspoken rules of how a judge is ruling in a case. I use those to my advantage to the extent I can. I try to, and that's why I say when a judge is ruling consistently, at least they're ruling consistently. And I think that's the better way of saying it. At least they're ruling consistently, because then I can give my client some element of predictability. But that's not what they should be doing. They shouldn't be just ruling consistently. They should be ruling correctly. We saw this in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard with Judge Ascarati and her rulings on hearsay. And I appreciate that she is at least consistent, where I can predict how she's going to rule. But that's not really what I want her to be. That's not what I want any judge to be.
How hard is it to read? How hard is it to follow the rule book? I know in law the rule book is pretty thick. It takes up entire libraries, but you know.
And there are some rules, and you'll agree, there are some rules that are open to interpretation. Even like if you take the sports analogy, right?
Sure.
Whether a play, yeah, right. There's rules that are open to interpretation where you have
Supreme Court's
disagreements
having
on how the
Supreme Court's having a fight right now on what, or just took cert on a question of what counts as obstruction for the purpose of some statute. And there's a very interesting linguistic ambiguity in the way the statute's written.
But you know what rules are not subject to interpretation? And think about this in the terms of one of the harshest rules that we ever see. Hang on, let's pull Mr. Whitty down for a second. One of the harshest rules we ever see is the rule of statute of limitations, right? If you file a complaint, if you file your claim 1 minute after the statute of limitations has lapsed, it is dead in the water. It cannot be revived. It is gone. See you later.
Yep.
That rule is consistently applied as a hard and fast rule, black letter law, not subject to interpretation. Boom. Okay, great example. Courts of appeals apply it that way. Now let's take a rule that should be black letter law. I ordered you to do something. You did not do it. You have one defense to that. Judge, what you ordered me to do was something I physically was incapable of doing. Right? It was impossible. I did everything in my power, and it was impossible for me to satisfy the obligations that you dictated to me in your order.
I understand this. I understand this completely. This works.
That's not what we just saw here.
No, that's not it. Yeah. Why couldn't you produce the boxes? There was a hurricane. There was a tornado. Our building burned down.
No, at least in those excuses, there was something where they were at least arguing it's impossible, right? At least in those cases, it's like, why can't you produce the phone? Because it magically fell into the same pool that all the other phones fell into, right? At least you're arguing impossibility.
That's where I press a very, very strong exit out. And I'm like, there's no way all these misfortunes happen simultaneously. I do not believe you. I will start issuing contempt, and they will get painful. And we'll eventually include toothbrush time.
And what really pissed me off about this was, and I don't know how Hunter did this. I don't know why I'm not going to disparage or make disparaging remarks about any judge because I'm still actively practicing in front of said judges. But I don't know why the judge even entertained the argument of what does it matter now? Because that's part of the consistency thing.
That was John Hopkins' argument in their filings.
I know.
They said almost exactly those words.
What does it matter now?
What does it matter now? How about order? How about that?
That's what I mean. And that should be the response. And I have been practicing for long enough that if a judge says, what does it matter now? I would look right back at that judge, and it comes with experience, right? You have to have done enough trials to have that confidence to look at a judge, kind of like Paul Clement when he's arguing from the Supreme Court, saying, "Sorry, Madam Justice, you are wrong. Like you're wrong." And the argument back to when Judge Carroll says, "Why does it matter now?" And you look back at the judge and says, "Because opposing counsel just spat in your face and said it was raining." They literally just looked at your order that you wrote and said, "This isn't worth the toilet paper I wipe my ass with."
And apparently they're right. Many times. Apparently all the times they were right, Johns Hopkins. Apparently they were right when they said, "I wipe my ass with your order and it doesn't matter." Every single time.
And I mean, it takes like the Paul Clement to stand up and say that to the Supreme Court, and it takes learned trial counsel to stand up and say that when the judge presses you on that issue, because you make that comment to a judge and they might not view that comment favorably. But when you phrase it back to the judge and you say, "Judge, Mr. Hunter just spat in your face and said it was raining," you already ordered him to produce it, and you're asking me why that matters. Do any of this court's orders matter? The judgment that you're about to enter, that's an order.
Does that matter?
Does he get to, does that matter?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mile will be taking Social Security by the time we're done with this.
And you know that you are going to catch Judge Carroll off guard, and you know that it's probably going to inflame him and piss him off. But that's why the confident lawyer stands up and says it, because you know that when the judge is pissed, they're mad not because of what you said. They're mad because what you said had truth. Like, what the hell? What does it matter? What does it matter? Judge, you told, the bailiff, when you walk in, the bailiff gives us a command, "All rise." Does that matter?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me long for the days at this point when justice was executed by the sword.
But you see this in the law a lot. You see the Supreme Court of the United States coming up with rulings and opinions, and you're going, why? You reached what you believed to be the right outcome, but the logic on which you placed that decision is so faulty that I don't know where to begin. What have you just taught every lawyer appearing in every court?
What have you taught every juror? We've been making this point, and I made this point. Why would any person who is aware of this ever serve in a jury in Florida? Why would they be like, "Okay, I'm going to volunteer and do my civic duty"? No, I'm too afraid of being juror one, because I'm afraid that if I give a verdict they don't like, I'm going to be outed and doxxed and called a Nazi, and so I cannot serve in an unbiased way because you, the court, have made it impossible.
Well, and let's take it to this discovery stuff, because we're arguing about the discovery, the production of the documents, right? If we take the discovery argument, what the judge has just done is the judge has just taught not just Mr. Hunter, but every lawyer appearing in that firm, that where you have a client that is high powered enough or has the money, you just say, "I'm sorry, judge, I'm not turning that over until you order it." When the judge orders it, you still don't turn it over. You have now taught them to withhold documents that are clearly relevant, that you found were relevant. You have now taught them that they are to play dirty, that playing dirty has an upside. Right? Maybe you don't have to turn it over if you just ignore the judge's ruling long enough.
JT in chat asked a good point. Why would any attorney in Florida ever turn over any discovery? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Why would I turn it over?
Here's what you're going to order to compel, and what the judge has just told you is that order to compel doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So why would I ever give her a discovery? Because there's no reason for me to.
Judge, you've ordered me to remain silent. You've ordered me to remain silent. You've ordered me to sit at my table. You've ordered me to do these other things. Why am I going to give that order any more weight than the one you just gave them?
Yeah. 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 Yeah, this is my problem, Rob. This is my problem. And you're like, and so like this is why I'm saying it. This is why I'm saying if I was juror one, I'm like, screw you guys. Why would I entertain a good faith effort, even if I wanted to at this point? Why would I even try? I've already tried to give a good faith effort, and you've already done this to me, and there's no one to protect me. Why would I further engage with the system? Why would I have anything more to do with it?
But and when you talk about the downstream effects of stuff like this, you guys, we've seen this in other cases. Amber Heard with her phones, right? She didn't turn over her devices. She turned over copies. She played games with the orders to compel. She played games with all of it. This is just, you're watching the downstream consequences of the lawyers that came before them. And I'm sorry, but rulings like this continue that in perpetuity. At some point in time, you have to say, counsel, my order meant something. And yes, it's a Howard Hunter. It's a lawyer who's practiced before, you or other judges for decades. And yes, it's a former, retired appellate court judge, but you have to have the balls to make the rulings and make them stick.
Big judge balls. Big judge balls. Or you don't belong on the bench.
For the
You don't
female
belong on the
judges,
bench.
the big judge lady balls, the big lady balls. They judge.
Yeah, you got it. How hard is it for the concept of if you're going to make an order? It's just like a parent with a child. If you're going to make a threat, you got to follow through, man. Your order's meaningless if there's nothing behind it. And Johns Hopkins knows that apparently all too well. Apparently, they knew it all along.
I was making the comment. I think I forget who I was making it to, but I said, remember the judge in Rittenhouse, where he was so angry at Binger and said, you do this, the audacity or whatever words he chose, but then didn't do anything. Like just,
yeah.
Or you know what? Even a judge I like, Judge Darrow, who I liked her when it came to Brooks. She gave him how many warnings? And only excluded him and then kept on letting him back in the courtroom.
I've been reading a lot of articles about the testosterone drop in America. Apparently, it's also affected the judiciary. Not enough balls.
It's not testosterone. I'm not going to attribute it to testosterone or not. I'm going to say, God, man, principle. Just teeth. Yeah, when a judge says something to me, that order matters. And when I violate that order,
the very fact the judge is considering this,
I should expect to spend a night in jail.
I wouldn't even had a hearing. I can decide things on papers. Last time I checked, I would have referred this to the bar. And if the judge is actually considering this, it doesn't sound like he's going to make a referral to the bar. If he actually considers this, it shoots any referral to the bar in the head. Because, well, how bad can it be? The judge said it's okay. So, like, it continues with absolutely no penalties. Name one. So the judge won't stop him, and apparently the bar won't stop him. No one's going to stop them.
Here's the other part of my rant on this one.
We need the Supreme Court of Florida to come down on high themselves and fix this shit because no one else is going to do it. The Supreme Court can. They're the ultimate authority. Sua sponte this.
Well, the other part of my argument is this. It's hang on, I lost my train of thought. Where is it? Come on, find it. Where are you, train? Where are you, train of thought? I know you're there. Oh, crap. Where'd it go? Oh, yeah. This was part of the reason I was mad at Elegant. Because to the point that you made, if the judge signs off and gives the juror interview, that does not and should not make that motion for sanctions go away with regard to the second supplement. If the judge basically said, I'm going to grant the interview, and therefore the second part of that's moot. Judge, respectfully, you are wrong. Because when you are an attorney and you sign your name to a pleading, you are doing that with this promise to the court. And Mr. Hunter didn't just spit in your face like he was raining. He lied at you. He lied to you directly. When he filed this pleading, he had no good faith basis of filing that supplement pleading. And I don't care if you found one of his positions to be of merit, the one that he advanced, the one that had actual consequences in the public as far as someone else's reputation is sanctionable independently of anything that you believed was valid or in good faith.
Yeah, but once again, we are where we are. Why would he issue sanctions? He hasn't done it this far. And if you're actually contemplating the possibility, the judge will issue this interview. Especially, why would he? Apparently, this is upside down world or something. I don't know. It makes me want to go in there Mad Max style, with some sort of Viking helmet, a la Chance 6, and go in there, hold my own damn court. I'm in charge now. Damn it.
And I predicted this, the sanctions issue. I predicted that a while back. Like, there's no sanctions. They're not. And I hated doing it because people were so mad when I said that. I get the anger, man. Don't be angry at me for predicting it right. Like, don't be mad at me for calling it the way that I saw it was going to take place.
I'm not mad at you.
Oh, I know you're not mad at me.
I'm not mad at you. Unfortunately, your opinion is unfortunately reasonable based on the facts. It shouldn't be, but it is. And I hate it. And I want to beat people to death or something, but
maybe not violence, but some fashion of
violence. I don't know, man. Sometimes that hammer, sometimes there is a gavel on the gavel on the bench, man. You got to use the hammer of justice, whack people over the head. You
have to. And you would correct a lot of things that take place in courtrooms by simply saying, counsel, I appreciate the fact that you made the argument. It was still without any good faith foundation. I know that you made it with a calculated decision in mind on behalf of your client. That decision has consequences. Bailiff, if you wouldn't mind escorting Mr. Hunter, he's going to spend the next, and there was a judge, even just giving him an hour, like he's going to spend the next hour in detention behind the courtroom, right? Just something. Hell, fine him $1, but fine him. Do something.
Yeah. At least some of the people in chat are saying that they understand where my anger is coming from better now that we're explaining it more. So, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Nice.
And I wanted to make it through the hearing because it was one of those things where I needed to let the arguments play out. But, J-Hatch is going to lose on their motions for remitter. They're going to lose on their motions to deny the judgment being entered. They're going to lose on their motion for new trial. The problem is the judge is going to give them a partial win, which is a blow for justice. I mean, on the issue of the juror. And the order to compel, Judge Carroll needs to,
in my opinion, he would
tomorrow.
In my opinion, he probably would be more warranted in ordering the remitter than in ordering the examination of juror 1.
Yeah, I can see that. You know what? And this needs to be said again. I don't know if it's just a little bit louder or just because the outcome was what you believed coincided with justice doesn't mean that you don't have to call the game and call every play of the game consistent, and not just consistently, with fair application of the rules. Like if you do the ends justify the means, that's not how the law needs to work ever. It shouldn't.
Well, when the ends are the rule of law, maybe they do. Hence the whacking stick.
It's tough.
Hence the whacking stick.
Pretty bad. I got to catch up on some super chats. Give me one couple minutes here. Mary Kay, one question. Have you read it yet, Shapiro? God. Tommy Jones. Hello, Rob and Ian. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Fat Yoga. Thanks for coming. Ms. Shapiro. Oh my God, that was spicy. Aqua 46784. Have been praying for Mama Morton. Thank you, Aqua. She appreciates the prayers. Matt Bond. For the record, on the record, let the record show. Hello, my spiffy, legal, mumbo, jumbo, talkie brother from another mother. Matt, every time, man, bring a smile to my face, even when it's situations like this freaking case. Mindy HB, I love this channel more all the time. Thank you, Mindy. Very kind of you. Baby Steps 22. I have family things to do. We'll join later on or replay. Merry Christmas, all, especially Rob and Mischiefs. Thank you, Baby Steps. Very kind of you. Courtney Michelle, I just found out that I got promoted to director at my consulting firm. Congratulations. That's where the gifted memberships came from. Congratulations, Courtney. That is awesome. You enjoy that wine this evening. Carla Vieira, does RA and Dr. Joe's friendship mean truce between MDs and JDs? Not J Hatch included. I see what you did there. Very clever. Debbie, thank you. I was only missing one, and today she arrived. Welcome, Minty. I've been waiting 40 years for you. That's in regard to the My Little Pony. Wonderful. Charlie Raven, what will 2024 hold? I don't know. I've stopped predicting because God only knows. Jillian, thank you for the super chat. Very kind of you. Robin Shermantine. Thank you, RA. Awesome job. I concur. KC Cat, thank you. Lawyers and Dragons tomorrow morning. Thank you, Santa. Best Christmas script ever. Yes, there is Lawyers and Dragons tomorrow on Rick Hoag's channel, 10 a.m. I don't really know the character I'm playing other than it's an elf with a sword and shield. That's all I know. Jessica Hicks, thank you. Rob and Ian, can you share your it exported to it exported E with JD and AH and ask Scott if he experienced the same? Oh, I think the experience. I've talked to Scott separately about that. He's a really good guy. Chantal, thank you. Runkle, did you watch the inquiry into the invocation of the Emergencies Act last year? That was my start into trial watching. I was obsessed. I'll save that for when he comes back. Jillian Ryan, thank you for the very kind super chat. Thank you for all the giving me a place. I love on Fridays. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you. Nancy Mammy DeMay, so happy RA told me about all of you. I'm glad that they did as well. Maggie Carr, thank you. Thank you, Rob and Scott, for all you do. Thank you. Ian or Kurt had not yet joined at that point. JM, thank you guys for all you do. Thank you, JM. KH and SC, so glad to be here, Rob. Glad you are here. Bop It with gifted memberships. Thank you for the gifted memberships, Bop It. Sherry Reed, just saying hi. Well, hi right back. Matt Bond has been a member for 4 months. Scott's in his road boat. Do you have jurisdiction? Oh, God. Kirk coming in with the statute was pretty incredible. Steve A., another example of WWESD in action. There was a lot of them today. LA, it's Juror wife's ex-stepson from her first. Yes, I know. I thought that was particularly egregious. Hey, Harrison, can the juror sue the lawyer for slander? Litigation immunity.
Yeah, almost certainly not.
In litigation. Canonical Heat, thank you for the 20 gifted memberships. Very kind. Canonical Heat again. Pour out some likes and subscribes for the thirst and hug the lovely mods. Mods are amazing. Canonical Heat is always congratulating them as well and thanking them for the work they do, as do I. Veronica, Rob, I need that lights Christmas tree. It's cat proof. It is not cat proof. That is cat attackable. Like those are strings. That cat can no. Chris Cat Queen, does juror even have to participate in being questioned in front of these defense yahoos? What if juror just sits arms crossed and shrugs? The judge does have jurisdiction to punish someone for violating their orders. Just Sarah, can J Hatch dox juror 1? His
Does he though? Does he?
I don't know. That's the same question I have with Jules and with the wife. I don't think that power exists to do a lot of things that J Hatch was asking for. I don't know though. Just Sarah, can J Hatch dox juror 1, his integrity as former LEO no less, publicize a sealed DV indictment, then hide behind litigation privilege like they did in chapter 39? Yeah. Matt Bond, you see the message from my forensic handwriting expert friend. She's been doing it for 36 plus years. I sent to X. I'll take a look at that, Matt. Thank you. Laura Bronson, thank you for the super sticker. Whiskey 77. I bet he questions J1 Kurt. Free shirt question mark. Oh. Trace Curtis, hey, sorry about bumming out the last stream with family drama. Sorry for hijacking your stream. You never did. I know it's bad manners. I was tipsy, as can be expected. That's fine. You're allowed to engage in the chat, man. We all say things. Lindsay, Zora, sigh. That was the internet issues. Zora definitely got the Ethernet cable. Opposite of amnesia is Mercury in Gatorade. My day was all tech issues. Might be. Crazy Cat Queen, wouldn't searching the phones be a violation of the Fourth Amendment?
No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Giraffe Gal. So now a juror who took 6 weeks out of his 12 weeks out of his life, not 6, 12 weeks out of his life, is now subject to harassment, invasion of privacy, and will incur legal costs. Wow. That's why people are pissed. Joey Jones Donnelly, biggest solar flare since 2017 today. Tech mess. That must be it, man. Canonical Heat, waiting for Shapiro to break out his LSATs. Oh, God, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Here to break at his LTAT score. Good comment. Laura Leanne, main takeaway, they still don't get it. Hugs all. Yeah. Baby
No
Gator.
one's making them get it. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's part of it. Keep your hands off my phone. Yeah, I would agree. Purple AJ, where's the boxes J Hatch owes the plaintiffs? Sally Smith has a shovel somewhere. Opposite of amnesia, can the jurors speak out on behalf of J1? Can other jurors do that? They're probably not. I mean, that's one of the consequences
Why
of
would
this.
why
would
at this
they?
point?
Why
Yeah.
would they? Mischief, can you help me? Can you pull up some of these questions for Kurt? I need a minute. If you're in front of your computer, I don't know if you are. Yeah, I just need a minute.
What are you doing? I'm Callie. Let's read some super chats. Post me a super chat. Post me a super chat from Whisker 77. By 99. I think the judge will be the only one asking if I think he's trapped to do so due to the skill appearance of everybody. The J1 takes Kurt's not legal rights up here. Box 4 category 3. Clowns. Thank you very much for the super chat. Next. Julie for 279 says, I want to see Kurt defend Juror 1. You and me both. Thank you. PC Cat for $20 says Shakira's inching towards destroying the jury system with this BS. All I've ever seen since Juror 1 stuff began is, I'm never showing up for jury duty. Along the question of helps up the duty. Very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. No, Carol with the CNE for $9.99 says, I'm frustrated that the defense is going after a juror. But the anger Kurt is expressing is really unsettling. Is our legal system falling apart? Thank you for the super chat. LJ Peach for $20 says, both my hubby lads served on juries. He's retired earlier when we never spoke about his cases until they were over. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Baby Gators, bust out Brandon for $20 says, I absolutely agree with Kurt. The judge needs to tell the defense that everything they said is BS. Sally agrees. Elizabeth Lenis from MMK 100 says, all I can say is I understand more and more how the mother became so desperate. My worry is how many others, employees and patients, they've similarly relegated against and forced to make so much choices. Nobody understands. No swimming with me anytime. The last believe for $10 says if the jurors were to submit the question, I'll do whatever I have to avoid future jury duty. Then, if so, nice job, Judge, and J-Hats. Cookie Lady 9995 with $5 says, no way I'll ever be a juror after this mess. No way. No matter how many losing players will do this to a juror. I agree. Thank you very much. Laura Linney for Canadian 9699 says, I think J-Hat should just sell a reasonable lower automatic bid. Not appeal. Put the dollars in the marketing campaign and email. Happy Friday. Totally works Fridays too. Thank you very much.
Crazy Cat Queen SUFU Hunter for $5 says maybe Judge Carroll's confused about the rules because he's a gator. Could be that. Could be that for sure. Megan Aston has been a member for 2 months, says I'm late, but here. Happy Friday, y'all. Thank you very much. L. Fliggins for $2 says, wishing a happy birthday to my wonderful husband. Well, I hope your husband is wonderful, and maybe you might visit him in a separate home. Yeah, I think you might like that. Because surely, like a good couple, you live in separate houses, right? Thank you for your super chat. Peggy Cole for $19.99 says, I hate that the lawyer missed that J Hatch said the plaintiff told the juror not to speak when number one hasn't talked with them. Fair, very much. Michelle Minard says, for the Kurt swearing jar, we understand. Thank you very much for your super chat. Peggy Cole for 99 says, good luck getting me on a high profile juror ever because of this. Thank you very much. Should we try singing a couple super chats? I think we should. Ashley Farmer, member for 3 months, says, But why not subpoena the IJ issuing body? I don't know, Ashley, that's a really good question. LA member for 1 month says, look like following the court rules is for chumps. Couldn't agree more, LA. Rachel Dweck, member for 8 months, says these lawyers need to be kicked out of the room. Out of the room for you and me. Nikki Lewis says, cross fingers get plus rulings. Awesome discussion. 100% agree. For you and me. Don Burke says, our fathers are rolling in the graces. Justice is not served. Carol with a C and E says, who can fix it now? Uncivil, if anyone is kind, Uncivil is here. Rosebud 26, member for 9 months, says, join the stream and talking about Viking helmets. Yeah, you missed a lot. Thank you for the super chat. Vincent Randa for $5 says, Kurt should file an amicus brief and point out all the rules in case law that says Jay Hatcher's lawyers should get their toothbrushes ready. I'm not sure how much it would help. Jay Hatch seems quite concerned with people following the judge's order when it comes to the juror. Fair. Yeah, they seem to want other people to really meticulously follow the orders to extreme detail, but they don't seem to apply it to themselves. Welcome back, Rob. We've been having a completely normal super chat reading. How are you doing?
I totally heard a lot of the singing. Sorry. Oh, my camera. Hang on. Camera, find me. Hello. I see you. There I am. So I had to change out filament in my new toy. The 3D printer.
Ooh, that's really cool. Can I see? Get a closer shot?
So this one screwed up. I didn't put supports on it.
Still pretty good though.
Sonic.
Oh yeah, that's good, man. Hey,
Sonic
not
the
bad for
Hedgehog.
first effort. Yeah, I love it.
So Mini Mischief 2 is a massive Sonic the Hedgehog fan. Like, it's his favorite thing in the world. So it, like, the print went overnight and I didn't put supports on it. I was an idiot. But so I had to change out the filament because I was printing a pen box. So now I'm currently trying to get that to print. And let's see, because I should be able to pull this up in a second as soon as I attach it. Come on. Scan. Find the printer. Find it. You can do it. Because the printer connects via Wi-Fi.
All I want for Christmas is a linoleum knife. And the address of where Jay Hatch lives.
Oh my gosh. All right, so it's uploading to the printer and I'll be able to pull the video up of the print as it's going. But yeah, that was kind of the fun stuff. But let's see, did we catch up on Super? We didn't yet. So let's finish those up while I'm getting that thing going. Love the taint idea. I think that was terrible, but sure, if you're going to get the phone, why not load it full of things that they don't want to see? Kadata Smith, thank you for the gifted memberships. Trina, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Much appreciated. Laura Howard, thank you. It matters now because they will need it for the appeal. Yeah. Why do I have to go beyond what I just said? Why do I have to go beyond the fact that, Judge, you ordered it? Why do I have to go that much further? Crazy Cat Queen, what are sanctions if Esquires are actually sanctioned? Yep. Teresa, see, Lawyers and Dragons, best news ever. Thank you, Teresa. Hope to see you tomorrow. De facto Dawn, happy holidays, Rob, Kurt, Ian, and Mischiefs. Thank you, De facto Dawn. Cynthia Cotney, catching up, FYI, years ago, my then hubby and I both worked at the NSA, and we're never allowed to discuss work with each other. And we didn't. It's not difficult. You just don't. I've made comments that my sister and brother-in-law were on the same jury. Somehow. In Nederland, Texas, they were on the same jury. My brother-in-law was an alternate. My sister was a juror. You know what they did at the conclusion of every day? They had dinner and didn't talk about the case. Because Cat Queen Amin Shapiro uses ESQ and is a quote super lawyer. I mean, I get nominated. I get thrown in that thing too. I don't pay for it, but it happens. Ashley Henderson, love my favorite lawyers as I lay in the hospital. Cheers to a safe recovery. Please get back on your feet. Hopefully the discharge is quick and smooth. Emmy, why would the judge send them back to mediation? Because he really, really, really doesn't want to order sanction. He really doesn't want to hear the argument. He doesn't want to do it. I don't care. You are a judge. You are there to make decisions when the parties can't. Do you think they're going to mediate this dispute on issue of sanctions? No way. How are they going to get a result at mediation? It's not going to happen. So, juror number 1 has dysgraphia. Thank you, Elise. It's akin to dyslexia, and it causes your writing to look like several different people are writing. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Interesting observation. Let me do this. So yeah, we're gonna swoop to a better topic. So woo. Kurt, I need you to recognize that the swoop is supposed to bring you happiness. 1, 2, 3, swoop. There you go. There's a smile. I knew I needed it. Oh, God. What a day. So I did do something. There's a meme that goes around. You know, the only problem about me being an adult is that I have access to like adult. Oh, there's a couple of things I want to share. Adult resources, which means I make irresponsible decisions, irresponsible purchases all the time. And
what kind of adult resources?
The ability to go online and buy something.
Okay.
And honestly, y'all in the chat, you guys encourage this behavior. It's kind of, so I bought a 3D printer. It prints stuff. It's big. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be. It prints things like a little pen case. That was from last night. That was fun. Pen case
Very
printing.
Nice.
And then this one was another gift that I received from a certain person. And this is to prove that that gift is in fact in place.
Who gave you that gift, Rob?
Gee, I don't know. He might sing a lot. It always brings me joy and happiness. And now when I go into that restroom,
it's currently being used in your house.
Oh yes, it is in the house. It is that is up. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I'm just being corrected in the private chat that I apparently used a phrase that I shouldn't have used. Adult access to adult purchases, it means adult. Yep, I get it. My brain.
Well, that's why I
slow.
said what I said, and you didn't pick up on it.
Nope. I didn't.
That's exactly why I said what I said. What kind of adult thing?
This is
and
why
I even said it in that sing-song voice to tell you clue, and you still didn't pick up on it.
Because my innocent brain. My innocent brain.
But now that we're on the subject, tell us more about these adult items. What are your favorites, Rob?
I print pencil boxes. God, leave me alone. I didn't mean it. Oh,
what a thing to come back to.
No, I know, Ian. You're right in time. So you see the shower curtain that Kurt sent. Isn't that great?
Uh-huh. What's it doing?
Sparkle parts?
Which direction is that unicorn or is that rainbow going?
I mean,
it's going into the toilet. So I mean, that's good.
Or is it going into? Never mind.
Oh, I mean,
it could be going backwards. It could be going the other direction.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. No, there's the pen box. So, that is among the things that I have been creating. Oh God, now my brain. It just is what it is. But the cool thing is, one of the cool things is that I can.
You can
actually
tell the
show this.
direction because there's a pot of gold at the end.
Here's a
And
pot
so
of
if you don't
gold.
see the pot of gold, it's going the other way.
It's a pot of gold.
I have another gift I'm going to be sending you probably tomorrow for Christmas.
Oh God. I'm now scared. Okay. I'm now excited. Like, this is great.
Hmm.
Let's see.
If you thought the shower curtain was good, this will
Oh,
be
yeah.
something that'll. Yeah.
Oh, so
Help.
there.
It'll help engage your mind.
So the printer's printing. I like this thing. It's fun.
You've got all the fun toys.
Do we want to continue this discussion on that in that vein?
As long as it's not about J Hatch.
Yeah. So that is Sonic 2.0. That is continuing. Hang on, I got to read these super chats so they remain on topic. Ian, this one came while you were gone. Chantel Caesar said, Runkle, did you watch the inquiry into the invocation of the Emergencies Act last year? That was my start into trial watching. I was obsessed.
Yes, but that wasn't really a trial. That was more of a public performance. The outcome on that one was predetermined, and yeah.
Teresa C, thank you for the gifted memberships. Henhouse Bath Company, this is phenomenal news. Got the pathology back this week. They got all the tumor and no cancer in lymph nodes, kicking cancer's ass right out of my body.
Yes.
Cheers. Fuck cancer. And the horse she rode in on.
Just not literally.
No.
That would be weird.
That's illegal in a lot of states. Mary Coppola, everyone have a happy holiday and blessed new year in 2024. Indeed. Trina, could J Hatch not turn over the IJ so Anderson doesn't get it for the Kushner case? They don't want anyone to see it, period. End of story. They are going to bury that Dracula as many times as they need to, unfortunately. And it's going to take a judge to actually order them and
Big
then
judge
double
balls.
order them to produce it. Bop it. Adult Resources, I use them to buy a jointer. Ooh, good purchase. Heavy duty machinery. Luna Dewdrops, Wood Daddy Sacks. Thank you, Luna. K Rab, my son has a motor dysgraphia. It makes sense that juror number 1 might use sharp angles. Writing is very difficult, and my son's letters tend to be boxy. Fascinating. Nancy, thank you for the 50 gifted memberships. Very kind of you. CB, now you can print adult. Oh, God. Yep. Walked into that one. John Common, can you print me a
You pulled that one up.
I did. Can you 3D print me a prostate massager for my MRI? No. I mean, can and will are very different questions. Can I don't know. Will I?
Yes.
No. Chris and M96 tried
Not
to
the
send
promise.
Santa
He
hats.
will.
Tried to send Santa hats with the bots, but USPS held the box hostage for several days, so it's delayed. But chat, imagine hats on the bots. Thank you, Kristen. That's really cool. Chantal Caesar, don't forget about my question to Ian from earlier. I didn't. I asked him. I remembered it. Blessed by God, you guys helped me deal with my PTSD. I'm very sorry that you're dealing with that. I'm glad that we can be of some assistance. So now that we've talked about the J Hatch nightmare and the printing expedition, let's swoop to a different topic. We have 2 more. Okay. Now, the next topic we're going to talk about is Luke Combs. Ian, do you know who Luke Combs is?
I believe he goes by another name. Am I thinking of the wrong person?
I think you're thinking of the wrong person.
I might be.
Musician. Country musician.
Oh, yes, this guy.
Yeah. Now you
Is he the
follow?
guy who said don't come to a small town? Is that guy?
No, that's Jason Aldean.
Okay.
How do you know this?
Because I listen to country music and all music. I
Respect.
listen to all music. I love
Why
music.
would you listen to country music? And why isn't there an asterisk when you say that?
What do you mean? No, I listen to all music. It's phenomenal. No, you're thinking of Sean Combs? You're thinking of Sean P. Diddy Combs?
I was thinking of Sean. I'm
Very different.
I'm tired.
No, Luke Combs. Luke Combs is a country singer. Now, we've been talking about IP issues, right? So let's say hypothetically that you're an artist or a famous athlete and you have a certain amount
This
of
is
money.
pretty fanciful already.
Well, you have a certain amount of money that goes with your name, image, and likeness, right? So you profit off of that, you trademark that, and you restrict who is allowed to sell official branded merchandise, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
a lot
I'd
of
already do
these
that.
larger names, they contract out the enforcement of their intellectual property to third parties. They hire
Because you just don't have the time.
You don't. Companies, law firms, etc. Now, there's an intended target of the litigation, and usually it's a manufacturer like the ones that we've kind of talked about in past copyright infringement cases where they're overseas and they're mass producing it, and you're probably never going to see a dollar, but your goal is to get them off the shelf and prohibit the sale.
Yeah.
Or to try and recover some level of the profits.
But
now
these
and then-
companies are usually pretty crappy at target identification.
Ian's caught up. We're there. Yes, they are.
I
And
mean,
in
this
some
is not the
cases-
first time this has happened. This is a thing.
Correct. And in some cases, their target acquisition tends to land on somebody who really isn't deserving. So this is a TikTok. It's a video he posted on TikTok and Instagram of Luke Combs himself explaining the situation. Let's see if that.
Guys, Luke here.
Why is
Did
it
he
so
explain it
loud?
in the song?
Why is it so loud? Was that loud to anybody
It's-
else?
That was
It
real
was very
loud.
loud. It was very loud in my in-ear monitors, and my ears are not happy.
My ear is not happy right now. Let me turn that down way down.
My ears are angry.
They are.
They're going to send a cease and desist.
7:27 a.m. here in Tennessee. I woke up at 5 a.m. to use the restroom, and first thing I saw was this. A woman that's being sued by me for $250,000. I spent the last 2 hours trying to make this right, trying to figure out what's going on, because I was completely and utterly unaware of this. So we reached out. Firstly, my manager reached out to this news station that ran this piece to try.
Dude woke up at 5 a.m. to this news. Like, you're an artist, you get a text message on your phone at 5 a.m. and it's like, hey, bud, so there's a lot of publicity around the fact that you sued one of. I did what? I sued who? But within 2 hours, and this is here's a lesson to a lot of people who do copyright litigation and try to protect their intellectual property. This is how you handle it. So 2 hours, and he has a response up addressing the issues, having corrected a lot of the mistake. And go figure, this is in Pinellas County. Why is everything in Pinellas County?
You know why.
Why? Because Florida. Come on.
We reached out. Firstly, my manager reached out to this news station that ran this piece to try to get some info. And so we do have a company that goes after folks, only supposedly large corporations operating internationally that make millions and millions of dollars, making counterfeit T-shirts, things of that nature, running illegal businesses.
Talking about
And apparently this woman, Nicole, has somehow gotten wrapped into that. And that makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. So I was able to get Nicole's phone number. I spoke to her this morning. She told me that, you know, she was absolutely shocked by this. I'm so apologetic. Talking to her, it makes me sick, honestly, that this would happen, especially at the holidays. I can't imagine being in her shoes. She told me there's $5,500 locked up in her Amazon.
He called her within the 2 hours of learning about this. That's pretty damn good. He
Mhm.
released this video 2 hours after he learned. Yeah.
Account. I'm going to double that, send her $11,000 today, just so she doesn't have anything to worry about. She was never supposed to be involved in anything like this. No fan should ever have to be involved in anything like this. And she got in trouble apparently for making tumblers. So I'm going to make my own tumbler today. That's going to go up today. I'll keep you posted on that, but all that money is going to go to Nicole and her family to try to help with her medical bills. Hopefully that can help her out. And again, this is unbelievable. I was completely shocked when I saw this morning. It makes me sick. This is not something that I would ever do. This is not the kind of person I am. I'm not greedy in any way, shape, or form. Money is the last thing on my mind. I promise you guys that. And I invited Nicole and her family out to a show this year so I could give her a hug and say sorry in person. And yeah, I love you guys. I just wanted to clear that up, man, because it makes me sick for anybody to be thinking that I'm this kind of person, because I'm the farthest thing from it. So love you guys, and I'll keep you posted.
It's pretty good.
That's
Not
a
bad,
classy
right?
response. Yep.
I mean, that's like, everyone else take note. Like, that's how you do it, man. The dude was on the phone within 2 hours, he had his manager called the news station, gets the phone number for the woman, finds her phone number, calls her, talks to her, apologizes, makes that $250,000 judgment go bye-bye, and then is like, here's $11K right now because I know they froze your Amazon account. And by the way, I'm going to release a Tumblr and 100% of the proceeds are going to go to you.
Yeah. No, it was a solid move.
The last part with the Tumblr and pieces going to her was really over the top. I mean, he didn't have to go that far. That was an extra boss move.
The thing is it's his fan, right? I think it's a solid move. Good for him.
It is. And you know, that's a person who woke up that morning and looked at their very special bracelet that said, what would Ethan Shapiro do? And they looked at that bracelet and he said, do the next opposite thing.
This is also where a good lawyer is different from a bad lawyer, because a good lawyer would look at this and be like, hey, you've got a fan who's doing, who's infringing your stuff. Don't touch it. Or
you might want to avoid this one, because a lot of it's fan art that she's making like a couple $100 here and there for.
Just let it go. Or hell, I've seen artists go, hey, this person is doing stuff. Technically, they're infringing my copyright. It is really cool. I am officially giving this person permission. Go buy their stuff. I saw a similar story some years ago in a fan community where like some small writer had the similar issue. And basically just one of their fans woke up to like, why have I suddenly done 10,000 sales? And it was because the writer gave them a shout out, and they're like, oh,
I mean,
crap.
But we've talked about copyright a lot and IP a lot. I feel like this year has been the year of litigation in copyright, right? Well, am I wrong? Because we've had My Poops, we've had
this goes on all the time. This is all. And the thing is there's a misconception that people have about copyright. They're like, you have to prosecute it. You don't. Trademarks you have to pursue and defend and so forth.
Yeah, but even then, you don't really have to go to the wall, and some people really go to the wall on that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go crazy about it, but you do have to, do some defense and so forth. You can't just let some other company. There's an example actually of a company locally that did it right, or that sort of had it done right at them, which was that they were sitting there and they started a company that infringed on the name of a much larger company, and the larger company was like, "Hey, we'd like to send our brand specialists down to do a rebrand for you on us. We'll do a relaunch party."
That is a good way to protect your copyright, man. That is a good way of doing it and not burning a bridge.
Yeah, they just were like, we'll do a relaunch party. We'll get you new logos that are professionally done by our brand team. We'll get you all of this. And that cost them, I don't know, let's say $50,000. That's way less than litigation. And the goodwill that you get from that, because then you can make a story about like, hey, we just, So it worked.
It's one of those things where these artists and companies, because the other thing is and someone was talking about this today. The estate of Marvin Gaye has filed, I don't know how many copyright lawsuits against different artists, right? They sued Ed Sheeran. You have Prince, who was routinely suing people over his art and his music.
How did that go for them, by the way?
Well, they won against Robin Thicke. He's won other cases, and I think the Ed Sheeran one he lost, and Ed Sheeran gave a concert in New York. But it is wild. You see people that are just pursuing these cases, and you're going, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Why? Lawyers are going to lawyer, and they're doing the job tasked of them. Now, in light of and in the spirit of that lovely story, I think I want to give away that WWESD bracelet.
Oh, nice.
So here are the rules. The rules are, oh yeah, Disney trademark expiration is coming up too, which is going to be a lot of litigation because Disney is not going to take the advice of Luke Combs. Disney's going to sue everyone under the sun.
Their trademark or their copyrights?
It's the Mickey trademark.
Copyright.
Or copyright. It's it's the
trademark
the old
doesn't generally expire like that.
No, Boathouse Mickey.
Steamhouse Willie.
Steamhouse Willie. Gosh,
Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, Steamboat Willie. Damn it. I corrected him with actually, and I got it wrong too. I must hold my head in extra shame.
And Runkle is sitting here going, come on, guys.
Oh God, man, this is so bad. But you know that Disney's going to sue.
When you actually somebody, you should be right.
No, it's even funnier when you're wrong, especially if you're like dramatically wrong.
Yeah.
I was close.
Steamboat. God, all you guys were Steamboat Willie.
Now, here's the fun thing is that not every element of what you think of as Mickey Mouse is part of Steamboat Willie. So a whole bunch of people are going to get their asses sued because they're going to make something like, oh, Mickey's out of copyright, and they're going to draw Mickey pictures, and then they're going to get sued so badly because it's like, oh, right, you can draw Steamboat Willie. You can't draw modern Mickey Mouse.
Where that line is between the two is going to get tricky, so that's going to be fun for a while.
That's the other thing. Yeah. I can completely see. Here's what Disney's going to do. They're going to sue a bunch of smaller entities. They're going to sue smaller people who aren't going to pay the money. They're going to get judgment in district court, and then they're going to take on, after they've built up some courage, they're going to take on one of the larger creators.
Built up some case law is what it's going to be. They're going to build up.
District court doesn't count for that.
I know it doesn't, but it is. If you say that 5 or 6 other districts granted us relief and found in our favor,
I guess it's fair enough.
You can see it's persuasive. It's like a judge is like, they already decided, I don't have to do it. Right. They're going to start suing smaller companies, getting judgments, and then they're going to wait and they're going to, save their powder for a larger company. They're going to go after them. They're going to try and enforce it. You just know it because Disney is going to sue everyone into the ground if they can.
Oh, Disney loves lawsuits.
They do.
Do not mess with the mouse.
They've gone after kindergarteners and play places that dare to put Mickey on the wall. They're cruel, man. They don't care.
The mouse knows where you live.
Yeah.
The House of Mouse will F you up.
The mouse would have sued the fan.
He probably would have. I heard a very interesting story about Disney the other day. Did you know the guy who wrote all the music for The Lion King, that actual person who wrote it, they offered him $2 million flat, period. That's it. For all of that music, they said, here's $2 million. Give us the music, no royalties, period. And he goes to his mom, and his mom says, you should probably renegotiate and take some royalties. So he drops his dollar figure down to I think $100,000 and gets the royalties built in. Oh, baby. What a nice move. Lion King, all the music, royalties. Oof.
I know a lawyer who was approached by a young group of people going, hey, will you do our incorporation and so forth? And he's like, here's the price. And they're like, can we pay you that in like 50 installments? We have no money. And he's like, I'll take a share, and took something like a 5% share of their company to do their incorporation and all of that. And then retired in like 10 years. It was just like, okay. They did well.
So what I was going to say is that in light of that lovely story of generosity that was the exemplar of the meaning of this particular bracelet. You know, you look at this in the morning and you say, what would Ethan Shapiro do? And you do the next opposite thing. So we're going to give this away. And the rules are that you have to be willing to send me your email, or you have to be willing to email me with the mailing address. I don't care if it's within the US or abroad. I will mail it no matter where I need to mail it. You have to be willing to give me that address. I will dispose of it and destroy it after I have it. But we're going to go ahead and do a giveaway. If you, in the chat, and it's only during the chat for a period of time that, you know, I will give you a countdown when we're going to close it, but type in hashtag WWESD. Hashtag what would Ethan Shapiro do? Hashtag WWESD. And I will very happily mail you this little friendship bracelet that was made that can remind you, you know, when you face those hard questions in life, what would Ethan Shapiro do? And then you can do the opposite thing. And you can probably end up like Luke Combs, but not as wealthy or famous or talented. Hopefully you are.
I don't know. The three of us are coming along nicely.
That's true.
I'm probably at like 0.000000001% of his fame, talent, or money.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the people, Runkle. They love you.
I mean, I'm like 100 air. Just laughing at something in the private chat.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it. I can't. So I'm being informed that I should give you guys the size of this. And the problem
you should definitely phrase it the way that you were told not to phrase it.
No, the size
is it an adult item?
The size of bracelets is usually measured in a length that is intended to depict and suggest the circumference, the actual circumference of the bracelet. I am not going to do that. I'm not going to say I will say that the bracelet will fit an adult male wrist. I'm not going to. No, it's big enough. It's big enough. That's what we're going to say.
That's what she said.
Exactly. See? Exactly. So, yeah. So hashtag WWESD. That way, if you guys want, I will go ahead and pick a winner and mail that out. So I thought that was kind of fun. Again, that was kind of an inside joke with Nick Whitney. We laughed about that. So cheers to you, Nick. I'm giving away the bracelet that I made for you. We're no longer friends because you didn't make the argument I thought you were going to make. Just kidding. So that's kind of the Luke Combs story. I like that though. It was interesting. Positive story. The last story. So we'll go. Let me see if there's any chats on this one. Luke's a stand-up guy. Thank you, Don Burke. Ian Paler says Luke Combs seems like a handshake agreement guy. I don't disagree. Jen K, Merry Christmas to you and your families heading north for the holidays. Merry Christmas to you, Jen. Matt Bond, I started doing graphics for Garth Brooks from a similar story. I wasn't selling anything. My fan art looked so real, people reported it to his lawyers. Wow, that's a story. Did you get a cease and desist? I'm curious.
That is cool.
That's interesting. Steve A, Budweiser did it right with a Minneapolis brewery before the Super Bowl a few years ago. Oh, did it right with a Minneapolis brewery before the Super Bowl a few years ago that did a Dilly Dilly beer. Great YouTube video, town crier and all. Interesting.
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah. They sent, they went the whole 9 yards. Budweiser did. They sent a guy in full costume with a whole proclamation, hear ye, the whole thing. It was pretty fire.
See, you know, these PR specialists, there's some of them that are really damn talented.
Yeah.
Adrian Angevine, question. They already got a judgment, though. Can that be taken back? Does lawsuit stay on the books? I'm worried about her credit. That judgment can be vacated. It's pretty simple. I mean, I don't see that being a problem. From what I learned, the time frame of the entry of that judgment was still within the time period where you can vacate it. And honestly, if she's worried about her credit, I'm going to say that she's probably got an outpouring of support and positivity that's going to make those worries not as significant. No, it doesn't fix it all the way, but it does pretty well. Prospering woman, not all fan art is negligible. There are people on services like Etsy making millions of dollars infringing on copyrights, including Disney and Swift. And that was what I was like talking about. These are the people that those companies you set up are intending to go after, right?
And the other thing is, don't like the other one that might surprise you, Harley Davidson. Do not mess with Harley Davidson.
Really?
Yeah, they've been known to go around to like craft fairs, and this especially gets people who do leather work, which is why it's sort of because people will make something with the Harley Davidson logo, and they're like, from what I've heard, and I don't know for certain, but what I've heard is that Harley Davidson's approach to things is the other way, which is like, hey, you've got a little craft fair that's making stuff. We'll settle this out for 50 grand. We're going to want to take every dollar you've ever made and also make sure that this hurts so badly that you tell your friends and that this absolutely ruins you.
Wow.
As a result, I don't think I'll ever do anything with like, I mean, I'm not a biker guy, but it's like, no, I have no interest in owning anything Harley Davidson or anything like that. So yeah,
I don't like companies that use that. Like, it's really, it just feels dirty, right? When I get the larger companies that are manufacturing lots of things on Etsy or other services, like, you know, you create a shirt and someone out there markets it and sells the hell out of it, and they're making money off of your copyright. I get that.
Yeah.
But when it's someone who's making fan art, like this woman was hand making tumblers, hand making the tumblers. Do a little research, please. I don't think it's that hard. So
there's
I'm also
just no way that somebody who is hand making something is gonna generate enough stuff to compete with like a major country star.
Correct. Want to do this. So I'm also being reminded that today happens to be the last day that you can do this, which is vote for Ian in the Gundies.
For Ian. It's the bee fish thing to do.
Yep. Vote for Ian. Vote for Ian in the Gundies. The link to do so is pinned to the top of the chat. Today's the last day to do it. There are 3,372 of you here right now. All 3,372 of you right now have no excuse.
I'm voting right now. You should too.
There's
Click
two
the link.
categories that I am running in. Number one is most dapper.
The link goes to both. It shows a page where you can hit both of them.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
But the other
Most
one is
dapper.
best video of the year. And the video of the year is for my Get Ready With Me video, which is quite possibly the funniest thing I've ever done. Because I had people. It is like, it's a few minutes.
It's 15. It's
okay. It's a while.
I was wondering if we could play like a little scene from it to remind people about the glory.
I mean, if you run the first like little bit of it, I got no problem with that. I'm not going to issue a copyright strike.
You're going to hit me with a copyright strike?
I am not going to hit you with a copyright strike. That would be a jerk.
You're going to sue me and ask for all the proceeds and profits?
Given that I just said you could run the video, I think that would probably probably not go very far. But yeah, I had people saying you need to make a Get Ready With Me video, and I was like, I can do this, but I cannot possibly take it seriously. And
here's some inception for you, for those of you waiting for motivation to go and vote. You need to go vote.
Who's this guy? The Runkle of the Bailey. My name is Ian Runkle. I'm a Canadian criminal defense and firearms lawyer. So apparently there's this.
I love that you said, "Who's this guy?" right when you did the intro.
I know I was going to do the intro because I always do the intro. Called Get Ready With Me videos. They show what you do in the morning, like waking up, your morning routine, any sort of skin or hair care, that kind of thing. And people have asked me to make one. Now, I really don't understand this trend, but I guess I can show you my morning. I think it's pretty basic. It's pretty just whatever.
And for those of you, I don't have to skip the clearing the house part because it's not actually showing on a live.
Yeah, it's not live, so it's fine by YouTube's rules.
Everyone else does. So I guess here we go. So I wake up after, a nice restful 4 hours of sleep, still in my pajamas, but I like to start things off with a little shot of hot sauce. That's the Black Garlic Carolina Reaper, 250,000 Scovilles. So that helps me wake up and get started with my day. Once I'm awake, it's time to clear the house. I do a little sweep to make sure no intruders got in during the night. They might be hiding somewhere, And now it's time to feed the dogs. They get their breakfast. So Potter gets one food, 2, 3 scoops because he's a big boy, and Zora gets favorite an Ethernet cable.
That might have been one of my favorite parts.
The only thing I got wrong about that was that I failed to pan over to Zora's face, because at the time I took that video, Zora looks up at, she looked down at what I put in her bowl, and she looked up at me like,
"You're kidding, right?
I'm gonna kill you." It was just like I'm coming after you. So
yep. She's like, "You wonder why I eat the damn thing." Like, so yeah, so that was that's the video. Go vote for Ian at the Gundies. It's phenomenal. I was there with him last year. One of the things that's so amazing is the Gundies last year when they did the award ceremony, they did it live, but then they released the recording via a premiere. So we were in the chat, and there were a lot of funny things. One was watching a Canadian win a gun award with a Canadian tie on, who had no idea he was going to win it. And 2 was watching the absolute amazement and shock of every single person on that premiere in that chat who was surprised that all of you folks who are in live chats all the time were there commenting and waiting for Ian. It was like 1,000 or 2,000 people watching, and 100% of the people were talking about Ian. No one else. And other creators were in there watching, and they were going, "Oh my God, this Ian Runkle fella has got a big, crazy following." Yeah, it's called the chat, and they're phenomenal people. So
it was actually funny because I had people going, "You're Runkle. Have you looked at the chat?" And I'm like, "I've been busy." And they're like, "Everyone is talking about you." And I'm like,
it was so funny. Oh God, it was so great. So do it again. I would love to see him win again for both awards. It'd be phenomenal. And we'll get him a new tie. Teresa C, thank you very much for the super chat. My wedding gift. I just got married Saturday. Congratulations to a newly engaged man. Thank you. Congrats to you and Mischief. Congratulations to you. May you have many years, many, many years of happiness. Cookie Lady, thanks for becoming a member. Beyond the Veil, Oddities and Curiosities, thanks for being a member. Matt Bond, yep, I got a cease and desist. I responded showing it was watermarked fan art only. They laughed at them not seeing it and had fun making graphics ever since. Awesome.
Nice.
That's funny. Jessica Hicks, grandpa was associated with Disney. They were cool.
They might have been at some point in the past. I don't put it past them.
The Disney now is not the Disney back then. Just a little bit different. Jules O, Minnesota. I make hot pads and bowl cozies. I will remember now to not do any Disney or HD. Harley Davidson. Yeah, probably not. All right, I'm going to wrap up the giveaway in about 10 seconds. So I'm going to do this in the chat too.
Yeah,
what
he's
would
giving
you
away
like to
the
do? WWESD, hashtag WWESD, giving away that little friendship bracelet. Oh, here comes Kurt. You're gonna do it?
No, I'm gonna pass on this one. I'll let it
Okay.
go to someone else.
Got it.
I put my name in just because it would be funny.
So WWESD, and we're gonna go ahead and calling it now. I'm gonna go ahead because I learned how to do this, and you put it in the chat, and you call it verbally because there's a delay. Let's go ahead and draw. Among those of you who have entered, the winner is B. Hartling.
Yay!
B. Hartling. I love that StreamYard does that. B. Hartling. Shoot me an email, lawandlumber, all spelled out, lawandlumber@gmail.com. Shoot me an email with the address to where I can mail that, and you are the proud owner of a reminder of what not to do every day.
Like B. Fish Hartling?
Might be B. Fish Hartling. B. Hartling, shoot me an email. Thank you very much. So, the last story we have today. Swoop to last story. New swoop. Love is Facebook. Former Facebook executive swindled social media company out of over $4 million.
Amateur hour. That guy,
Georgia.
the football guy, got like 20 million, man.
Oh, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting swindled by former executives or former employees. So in Atlanta, December 12th was the story, reporting from WSB TV in Atlanta. Former global executive at Facebook has pleaded guilty to stealing more than $4 million from the company, officials say. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office in North District, Georgia, the investigation began in January of 2017. Court documents revealed that Barbara Furlow Smiles, interesting name, 38 of Atlanta, served as the lead strategist, global head of employee resource groups and diversity engagement at Facebook. That's a
there's going to be a lot of
title.
There's going to be a lot of comments on that one.
The
title.
The
fact that they're in DEI.
Yeah.
Oh no, she led DEI, and we're not.
Right. I'm going to make many snarky comments about this. The damn communists stealing for themselves and so forth and so on. Yeah.
So she led the DEI.
There's going to be a lot of people with comments on that.
Programs at Facebook and was responsible for developing and executing the initiatives, etc. Officials say that she had access to company credit cards and reportedly had authority to submit purchase requisitions and approve invoices for authorized vendors of Facebook. The attorney's office said Furlow Smiles would use Facebook to pay several individuals for goods and services never provided to the company. Those individuals then paid kickbacks to Furlow Smiles, often in cash. Oh, so good old-fashioned embezzlement. Just good old-fashioned embezzlement.
That's amateur hour.
She linked PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App accounts to her Facebook credit cards and used those to pay friends, relatives, and other associates for goods and services reportedly provided to Facebook. However, these individuals did not provide the goods or services to the company. Prosecutors say most of them did not know that the payments came from Facebook. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
To hide the charges on her Facebook credit card, she reportedly submitted fraudulent expense reports, falsely claiming that her associates or their businesses performed work on programs and events for Facebook, such as providing swag or marketing services, which they had not done.
This reminds me of a fraud a couple of years ago. And I want to say it was Facebook too, where there was just some guys who defrauded Facebook, I think it was, out of $2 million just by sending in fake invoices. They just sent them in. They didn't they didn't have an inside person.
They
were for such low amounts that Facebook just paid them.
I've seen frauds where it was like literally just There was one guy who that was his whole thing, was just sending fake invoices to like dozens and dozens and dozens of companies for things like paper or, cleaning services or whatever else. And a lot of the companies paid them. And then finally somebody realized, somebody was like, we never did that. So, yeah.
So after the friends received payments from Facebook, they returned most of the money to Furlough Smiles. They paid the kickbacks in cash or through transfers to accounts held in her husband's and other names. This is good old-fashioned embezzlement. Associates paid cash kickbacks in person and by FedEx or mail. Well, that's wire fraud and mail fraud. Sometimes
All the
wrapping
fraud.
the cash in other items such as t-shirt. Literally you tried to pull some mafioso shit. You wrapped your money in t-shirts and sent it back to her. And then she had the people that she paid money to go pay this other person I owe money to. My God. Second, she caused Facebook to recruit several vendors that were owned or operated by friends and associates who also paid her kickbacks. After Facebook approved the contracts for the vendors, she approved purchase requisitions for these purported vendors to work for Facebook. Then she approved inflated and fraudulent invoices. And afterwards, she directed the vendors to return the money to her.
How's that for equity?
Huh. Officials say that she recruited several individuals to receive money and pay kickbacks as part of the plan. Well, that's RICO now, too. These individuals included friends, relatives, and it's funny it's in Georgia. Of course, it's Georgia. The RICO statute. God, that statute's going to face some challenges constitutionally, and I don't think it's going to survive.
I mean, everything seems to be RICO in Georgia. I just hiccuped and it was RICO in Georgia. It's
This is true RICO. This is the definition of RICO. Like right here, boom. You want to do RICO? Spoken wheel, there you go. RICO. But yeah, everything. Ian's hiccup is not RICO.
It is in Georgia.
Ian speaks truth.
They're bringing extradition proceedings.
Friends, relatives, former interns from a prior job, nannies and babysitters, hairstylists, and a university tutor. My God, she went around to everybody. She also caused Facebook to make payments for her benefit to others who did not pay kickbacks. So she just paid other people off. $10,000 to an artist for specialty portraits and $18,000 to a preschool for tuition. Well, that's not an appropriate use of Facebook funds.
And this was probably later on in the thing, because whenever you see these kinds of ongoing frauds, what you'll see is like early on, it's like very carefully, artfully done. And then later on, it's just like super blatant because they just realize that nobody's watching. And it'll just be like, yeah. And it'll be like, it'll be an invoice for something like,
One sec.
I mean, childcare is obvious, right? Preschool.
Rob left me
tuition.
alone again. Where were we in this thing?
Let's see. What can I mess with while Rob is gone?
In total, Furlough Smiles stole more than $4 million from Facebook based on false charges and fraudulent invoices, which goods and services were never provided to the company. He used the money to live between California and Google. Furlough Smiles, also known as Barbara Furlough, is scheduled for sentencing on March 19, 2024. Yay!
The court has said our favorite thing. Bring the jury. Bring the jury. Bring the jury.
I have all sorts of buttons.
Sentence says a lot.
Rob, you are fuzzy as hell.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I know that
Have you been drinking or have I been drinking?
I have to trim my beard a bit, but so good old-fashioned fraud. Good old-fashioned fraud. Just all the laziness, all the I'm not going to get caught, all the $4 million over the course of 4 years, 3 years. Isn't someone else getting sentenced in March? Sam, SBF.
Is it about that time? Like,
Oh,
I
man,
March, last I heard, but it might be a little bit later in March. So I hear conflicting dates. So
I wish
March is
Sam
the month of
Bankman-Fried a
sentencing.
very merry high score.
blow the top right off that exchange, right? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Numbers go up.
May his sentence be as inflated as the numbers he assessed at FTX's value.
Well, you stole $16 billion. So how about 16 billion years?
I mean, there's
What a
people who
freak.
get like insane sentences for stealing like $50 from a liquor store. So we should just multiply their sentence, like divide the amount he took by $50, and then multiply his sentence by whatever number you get there. And he'll be in prison until
Ever.
well, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I know it's going to have like 7 digits in that year.
Yeah. The
Year
amount
of our
that Jay
Lord,
Hatch owes
1,612,000.
Maya Kowalski that many days. The amount that Jay Hatch owes Maya Kowalski that many days.
No, that many years.
Well, either way. Oh God. Okay, we're gonna catch up on super chats. I'm gonna wrap up because I need sleep. I have had a massive headache all day. I don't know why or how to get rid of it, but I'm trying
Do
to
you have
keep it at
something
bay.
happening tomorrow that you need to be
Yep.
well rested for?
10 a.m. Lawyers and Dragons.
Which is 8 a.m. my time. And I will tell you, there's not a whole lot of things that get me up for 8 a.m. on a Saturday.
Lawyers and Dragons does.
But I'm gonna be there to be silly. So do you know your character? Have you got that down?
Elf with a sword and shield,
Can't be an elf.
who's formerly a carpenter. I feel like I can.
So you're just playing Rob, but as an elf instead of a dwarf.
Kind of. Look, I know that I'm operating on like no sleep this week. I would like to do something that I have no problem playing Rob. So we'll do that.
CJ, I want to get going on some I want to get going on running some more games on the Role of Law channel. So join the Discord on that, and it's gonna happen. I want to play some I got a game. And you guys, I will invite you guys to play too, because yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's good stuff.
Cities without number.
This is like a cyberpunk kind of game. Rob, do you know what cyberpunk is? I know Kurt does.
I know what cyberpunk is, yes.
So it's like simplified versus it's simplified as compared to games like Shadowrun or actual cyberpunk, but it allows you to play sort of like we are doing crime in a futuristic dystopian society. So I want to run that. So that'll be something I have to get going, and I think that'll be exciting. So,
I've got a topic for you on Monday. Have you covered SBF's former lawyer and the comments he was making?
I was going to talk about that on Monday. You bet. That was on my radar because
Kurt, have you talked about that yet?
I got opinions.
I'm sorry.
The dude comes out and says like he's like the worst client ever, worst cross-examination ever, starts bashing SBF.
Oh, I saw that. I saw a headline about that.
Yeah, so tune in on Monday. I think Ian's going to talk about that Monday.
I have so many opinions, but the short spoiler version is literally anyone on the planet can have that opinion, and everyone else on the planet does. The one person who can't say it is your own freaking lawyer.
Yeah.
We'll talk about ethics as a lawyer because
it's going to be
Sam Bankman-Fried seems to have hired a lawyer who is a little too similar to him.
I mean, this was former counsel, but even so, same thing. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yep. Catching up on super chats, and then we'll get out of here this evening. Disney. So Deanna, thank you. Disney Marvel goes to Comic Cons and serves cease and desist on site. That's gnarly.
Harley Davidson does that, and they draft the law. Like from what I've heard is they will just sue you on site.
Wow. Chantal Caesar says, I can think of a black tie with an F, a maple leaf, and a C, and a K, and a political leader's name that would be quite nice for Runkle. I'm not saying it's
I probably won't for that, but
probably won't. But it is a funny thought.
Yeah.
Cindy Collins wrote my last exam for my accounting program today. Congratulations. Got a raise of my new work contract this week. Double congratulations and a bonus at work Christmas party. Wow. I am drunk. Thank you. Good for you, Cindy Collins.
That's a good
Congratulations. What a way to end the year. Joshua, thanks again for great FNF and have a wonderful Christmas and a fantastic New Year's. That is a reminder. I will not be doing FNF next Friday. That is, I will not be doing Christmas, not be doing FNF on the 22nd. So no FNF next week. Thank you, Joshua. Ian Paler, realistically, she did her job just a lot faster. Oh, God. She redistributed a lot. Yeah. Kathy says, just voted for Ian in both Gundies categories. Thank you, Kathy.
And I saw somebody saying that they don't want to vote for me because they don't like guns. I mean, most Dapper and the Get Ready With Me video aren't really gun things.
Nope,
but
no guns.
Well, I guess there is a gun in the Get Ready With Me video. I do a fake house clearing.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not that if you have people talking about guns, wouldn't you rather have someone who talks about the safe, careful use and lawful use of those firearms and how those firearms are or are not lawful? I would rather have them on the content creation platform than anybody else.
Yep.
People are going to talk about it.
I am a big fan of being safe and so forth. Somebody says his Lawyers and Dragons going to be every weekend again. Maybe at some point. This is just a one-off Christmas special thing.
Yep. Ali Mazzaros, wishing everyone a happy holidays. Happy holidays to you. Lindsay, no FNF next week, but do we get a holiday member stream? I don't know. I'll see what the setup is like at my mom's house. We shall see.
Can I sign off? I'm about to fade into
Kurt.
black. Thanks,
yes,
guys. Have a good one.
Good night, Kurt.
Good night, Kurt.
Thank you. Please go check out Kurt on Civil Law. He's been putting out some really great content recently.
Oh man, I mean he does legal analysis like nobody else does because it's he is really careful about his how he does it, and so yeah.
And he donates his time this evening on evenings, and I run late. It's 11:37 p.m. It's not early. Nanner, wishing you all happy holidays and a better 2024. I think everyone can have a wonderful 2024. And that brings us current. Ian, you're doing Monday?
I'm doing Monday. I got a few things to talk about, which includes that lawyer. It also includes another lawyer who just got themselves, how do I put this? Curb stomped by the courts because they were behaving badly. So this is Lee Innovative Group and Facilitate Settlement Corporation, where we'll be talking about a lawyer getting stomped. I've got some sovereign citizen stuff to talk about. I got some a bunch of different news. There was a situation. Did you hear about the guy who brought a gun to the courthouse?
No.
So a guy
a lawyer
brought
or just a person.
A person brought a gun to the courthouse in BC because he wanted to kill a defense lawyer.
Okay.
That gun was loaded.
That's a thing.
And Twitter's reaction was kind of shitty about it. A lot of people on Twitter were like, good for him.
Oh, God.
Wanting to shoot a defense lawyer. And as a defense lawyer, I will say, please don't shoot defense lawyers.
No, do that.
Like, please don't. Because we're just doing our jobs, and I recognize that our jobs sometimes involve, our jobs are sometimes to defend people who are accused of serious, serious crimes, right? And people are always like, how do you defend bad people? It's like, well, because everybody deserves a defense. And because I've been surprised by, midway through trial. I had a trial that I've mentioned before, and I'm going to be sparse on details, but this guy was accused by several of his daughters of
Hear this one. Yep.
child SA.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't believe this guy because I'm looking, and I'm like, he's like, do you believe me? And I'm like, I don't, but I can defend you. And he's like, well, good enough. So we're running this thing, and I'm cross-examining the daughters, and they bring out daughter after daughter who's giving these like horrible accounts. And I'm saying, this didn't really happen, did it? Mom put you up to this, right? Because it was a very acrimonious divorce. And I've got to make the argument, right? Even though I think it's probably not the case. And then youngest daughter says, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the prosecutor's like, I have some concerns, like what's going on? So we bring back next youngest daughter, and we tell her, hey, youngest daughter just said this never happened. And she goes, yeah, that's true. It never happened. And by the end of it, we had every daughter saying that it never happened, that they were all crying. They were upset because mom had roped them into this whole thing. And by the time they realized just how big of a deal it was, they were so committed that they just couldn't, they didn't know how to get out of it. And they didn't want what was happening. They didn't want dad sent to jail. They wanted to keep seeing dad. And so by the end of it, the everybody was like, and the prosecutor's like, just says to the judge, he's like, I think we know what happened here. And I don't think there's any point continuing this prosecution. And the judge is like, yep, I agree. So, it doesn't go to verdict. It's just that, it just gets dismissed on that basis. But people are saying, did mom go to jail? Mom did not go to jail. So I didn't think that this guy was I thought he was probably guilty, but you still give a defense to that because I'm not the judge. Ultimately, the judge is the one who needs to make that call. And, but by the end of it, I was like, holy crap, he is 100% telling the truth. He is right. He's accurate. He's a complete innocent. He's the victim in all of this. Everybody deserves a defense because until you've run that trial and until you've figured all that out, you don't know. I've had people who are accused of all sorts of really serious crimes who were acquitted and ultimately turned out to not be guilty of what they were charged with. But even when somebody is guilty, you need somebody in the room to be like, well, maybe he doesn't need the full punishment. And the court may or may not accept that, right? They may say, listen, we're going to hammer this guy to the wall or not. But somebody has to be there to make the best argument that they can for that. Because otherwise our system doesn't work. Our system is predicated on the challenge, two sides bringing their best argument, and a judge or jury making the decision as to who has the best evidence, and whether it meets the standard. Because a criminal trial isn't just who's tops, it's who has the best evidence, and also does the prosecution get to beyond a reasonable doubt, right?
Yep.
So, and family law. Everybody hates the other side's family lawyer. Family lawyers actually have the highest rates of threats.
Don't say
and
it.
Violence.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Mission's
do.
still here.
Oh, Mischief.
know.
He's fine. He's gonna be okay.
I'm good.
But yeah.
I'm good.
I had a police officer at one point after a trial come up to me and say thank you, and I was like, "Why? I won." He's like, "I watched this whole trial, and I think I got the wrong guy. So thank you for getting that acquittal." And I was like, "Cheers!" You know, that was a kind of interesting moment with a cop. So yeah.
Okay.
Somebody says, "Did she keep custody of the kids?" I didn't do the family case, but I do know that the family lawyer pulled the transcripts of the trial.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
See, damn you, Ian. Damn you, Ian. Dobermans, I'm telling you. Oh God. I'm gonna have Dobermans. It's is what it is. All right, let's land the plane. Laura Leanne, Ian, full demo ranch videos, please. I don't know if he can post all.
So because a lot of the guns are very spicy guns, YouTube has rules about that. But if you go onto my locals, there is a video of me doing what they call a mad minute, which is I'm just shooting. Now, I shoot a magazine off of it, and then I hand the gun off. And then the next guy I hand it to has a malfunction. So he hands the gun back. I clear the malfunction for him, and then I, hand it back to him. But you can see me shooting out there at that. I didn't take nearly as many pictures as I'd like to, because
it's the story of everyone's life, man.
I should have taken pictures with like what is it, Collier Noir, CoffeeZilla, all sorts of people, and I'm having fun and I'm not taking selfies. I need somebody who can follow me around at these events and just be like, you need a picture with this person. You need to do marketing for this. Get a picture. So I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
Rob, if we end up at the Gundies again, that might be your job.
I will happily do that. I took a lot of pictures last year too.
Yeah, I just need somebody to be like, get a picture, dude.
Mhm.
Somebody says no Hummer video. It's a video of me shooting at the Hummer.
Oh, yeah, no. Maybe very carefully edited.
It can't go on YouTube at all. But it's on and Devin is a possibility there.
I was gonna pull it up.
So World of Warships, I think it was, sponsored the event by bringing out a fully loaded Humvee. And then that was parked downrange.
Uh-huh.
And everybody opened up on it. Yeah. By the end of it, that Humvee was not an operable Humvee.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the intro video to the Gundies, that 1 minute of madness, which is, my God. Rosebud 26, hope you have a very Merry Christmas, Rob, Ian, and Kurt. Thank you, Rosebud. Lynn the Print, thank you very much for the super chat. Lynn was the one that donated the squirrel print, and she gave me a print too. It's beautiful. I have to put it in a frame. On Fortenberry, this needs to happen for the worst of us so it can happen for the best of us. Absolutely. Devin, I can be that guy. You are that guy. Devin, you're a phenomenal person, and we're great about photographs and a good friend. LJ Peach. Rob Dobbies and Roddies are great with kids. I had a Rottweiler. I love my Rottweiler. It was a phenomenal dog. Jonathan Duger. Ian, you want that because one day it could be you. Extending a little bit of grace goes along. Also, innocent until proven guilty is a thing. It is. SF. Matt's trying to fix the Humvee. Oh, God.
Yeah, they were talking about that, about like, we can fix it. And I'm like, now I just want to say there was a guy with a 12.7 machine gun, like 12.7 machine gun, which is a big machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
I saw where he was aiming that. And he was aiming that directly at the engine block. If Matt gets that thing working again, I'm going to be super impressed.
It's on an engine rebuild with all new CNC parts.
Yeah. I mean, it'll probably have to be like Jesus himself walks down to be like, I will heal you, my engine.
Well, that's a good place to end it for the evening. Thank you guys for being here. Ian, thanks for jumping on. Go vote for Ian the Gundies. It's still at the top of the chat. I will put the link in the description as soon as I wrap this video. Y'all are amazing. I hope that all of you, whether you're traveling or staying local, I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday season. I will see you after the holiday, maybe before then. I'm not sure. But it's bedtime for me. And then I will hopefully see a lot of you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time for Lawyers and Dragons on Rick Hogue at Hogue Law, his channel. It's going to be a lot of fun. Happy holidays. I hope you have a wonderful new year. And thanks for joining us. And, you know, throughout the holidays, it's a great time. You have some time off. What is it I always say? Go make something, you'll feel better. So make some stuff, give it away, see joy on people's faces, spread that joy. Have a wonderful evening. Good night, guys.